Complete college basketball's greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship.
If you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Baylor, kings of college basketball, #1 in the land, and the trophy is coming to Waco.
Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
And welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Drake Toll alongside J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims, a Baylor take on your lunch break. It's Up Tempo, and it is as advertised. We're just following with the name right now.
So much tempo. It's all the way up. Turn it on up. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Last one of the week. Last Wednesday of the whole freaking week.
On a scale of 1 to Up Tempo, What is this?
This is 2015 Oregon offense.
No.
Yep.
There's no way.
Yep.
That was Marcus Mariota.
Yep. No huddle, no mercy.
No huddle, no mercy. Who was the running back on that team?
Kenyon Barner.
Really?
Anthony Thomas.
Really? Who was the starting left tackle on that team?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I thought. This guy went to Cornell. Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you. Why would I?
Dang,
Call lines open, 254-339-1122. Actually, it's not open, but it will be open.
They should call anyway. And
they should. And just keep
whoever
calling.
you get.
And just keep calling. So Kendall Coutts' book is out. How about that? Let's start the show with that.
I did not see that.
How they drew it up. Baylor's unforgettable 2021 national championship season. Kendall Coutt, forward by Scott Drew. Scott Drew had a part in helping write the book.
No kidding.
So that is out and live. Folks can go ahead and order that. There are a lot of pre-orders that went out. You can still order it. Apparently, it's like the #1 Midwestern novelty novel.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Is it a novel? They knocked that out.
Yeah, no. That's the weird part is Kendall tweeted that out and was like very peculiar that they would name us #1 Midwestern novelty something.
All pub is good pub, huh?
All pub is good pub. So that book is out. It talks about Baylor's national championship victory. Pretty cool if you ask me.
That sounds really
There's
cool.
a book about it. There'll be a documentary about it and all sorts. We're now 3 days away. 3 days away from Baylor's spring game, the green and the gold, hitting the football field in a game-like setting for the first time. How about it, man? You're going to get actual college football on a turf field this Saturday. 80 degrees?
It's supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be football weather in Texas at least, but it's just nice to be able to count down to a real football game. I think last season was awesome. We had it, but it didn't really feel real, right? Like there were times where it just felt like such an asterisk of a season with no non-conference and like they're starting way past the typical start date. So to actually have some normalcy, have some spring ball, have them scrimmage each other and see what we got here under the hood for this new offense.
I'm excited to see it. And we got a lot going on today, too, that we're going to talk about. We're going to break down spring football, elite college football.
Yeah.
7 gajillion followers.
Canyon Sheeran, and him and Hunter Reed's, I think, the other guy who runs it. But Canyon Sheeran came on and brought some heat yesterday, so I'm excited for everybody to hear that. He's really knowledgeable.
Hear from him later on here in the show today. And here it is. Kendall tweets, #1. It's the #1 new release in basketball books across Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
#1 in new release. That is how they drew it up. The story of Baylor's national championship season. It just passed Kevin Garnett in bestsellers in basketball.
Okay.
Bestsellers in basketball. It's wild. It's wild. This is what it is. West, South, Central United States travel books.
It's a travel book?
Number one.
I love
West, South, Central United States travel books.
I wonder where Baylor ranked in terms of travels this season. Do you think they had a lot of traveling calls?
The carry calls were more than more than what you would assume.
More than advertised.
All right, so what else we got today? We got the football talk, spring practice, a lot going on around spring practice, still some basketball lingering. Golf, women's golf finished third in the Big 12 championships yesterday.
Okay.
Jay Goebel and company, Gerline Carr, Elodie Chapelet, both of them finished in the top 10 individually. Then you got tennis coming up this weekend. We're credentialed for that.
I know, that's exciting.
We're going to get to go watch some tennis this weekend.
That's some big time. What time is that at?
Great question. It's a tournament. It's a Big 12 tournament, so we can watch men's, we can watch women's, we can go around and see our old man Michael Woodson, hang out with him. Got Marshall Burns on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, says, good morning, fellas. What are y'all's thoughts on Mojave King in basketball recruiting?
Mojave King. I don't actually know who that is.
Is that
do you know who Mojave King is?
Yep, he's a Saudi Arabian. Is
he the king of Mojave?
Prince.
Of the Mojave Desert? No
Mojave
way.
King.
I brought the laptop today, so we're gonna Google Mojave.
He is
King.
he's a Cairns Taipans shooting guard in the NBL from Dunedin, New Zealand. He's a New Zealander. What is that? Is that Dutch? If you're from New Zealand, you're Dutch.
I think you're just New Zealand.
No, you're not a New Zealander. I think you're Dutch.
Yeah.
He went to Brisbane State in Brisbane, Queensland. He playing career since 2020. So what are our thoughts? Well, Marshall, our thoughts are your thoughts. Good morning to you too. That is all that we have on Mojave King.
I think you're just New Zealander.
I don't know anything about Mojave King's basketball pedigree, but I do know that signing a player named Mojave King is your ticket to winning a national championship.
It's good for at least 7 wins every single night.
Yeah.
Not once a week. Every single night you win 7 games. So like if Baylor finishes with 100 wins in the season, thank Mojave King.
It is because you have a player named Mojave King.
I wonder if he actually is a king.
That's the number one name that I've seen in college basketball.
He looks yoked, just based on Google Images.
Really? You got pictures of him?
Dude, look at this guy.
Look at this dude, Mojave King. Guys, what?
Mojave.
He said I'm no prince. I'm Mojave King.
Said I'm the king now. Yeah, I don't know anything about him, but I'd love to learn more about him. He's a freaking dog.
Thank you, Marshall Burns, for that. So last night, I'll tell a little story at the top of the show for the folks at home that didn't ask for, but it's fine. Spring game Saturday, 3 days away. We're going to talk about that a lot today. Last night, I get invited by a good friend of mine. We just met. There he is, Mojave King, for the folks that are watching at home. If you're listening on the radio, you're not seeing Mojave King right now, but that right there is a basketball recruit. He is Dutch. He is from New Zealand.
I don't think you're Dutch. If you're from
I
New
think
Zealand.
you're Dutch. Are you not Dutch if you're from New Zealand? You're not New Zealander.
His
There are a bunch
nationality
of
says New Zealander.
Dutch nations. Really? What country is Dutch?
Yeah, I think New Zealand's its own country.
So what are you? If you're from New Zealand, are you just New Zealander? Netherlands is Dutch.
Dutch is Netherlands.
You nailed that. Where'd you go to college?
I actually been in New Zealand. I have a pizza coupon.
Really?
Somewhere in my
You
car.
do have a pizza coupon from New Zealand.
So maybe Mojave will use it.
Mojave King. Maybe he's coming to Baylor. Thank you, Marshall, for that very insightful recruiting basketball question. Ashley Hodge is on the show later today.
Oh.
We can ask him about Mojave King.
That'd be good, yeah.
I'm intrigued by that. So last night, I got invited by a friend. She was like, hey, listen, let's start. Why don't we start at the beginning?
Yes.
I am with a group of friends at George's, right? And we have a waitress who was very talkative with the table next to ours, kind of talkative with us, but we weren't standoffish necessarily. It was just like that awkward, how much do you talk to your waitress? Because she's working and how do you? Well, it turns out she comes over to our table and we strike up a conversation, the waitress and our table, right? And she's a sophomore at Baylor, transferred from Florida International, really strong faith, religious, comes from a really secular part of Florida, was going to go to Liberty. Couldn't get on the cheer team there. Couldn't get on the praise and worship team, which was that biggest testimony blessing. Came to Baylor instead. Loves Baylor to death. So we were like, oh my gosh, so intriguing, so neat. Waitress, right?
Yeah.
Hang out. Go to George's the next night. She's there again. We request a table. Next thing you know, we take her out to dinner as a friend group. I'm like, hey,
fun.
we'd love to get to know you more. Find community, right? Well, last night. She's like, hey, let's grab coffee this afternoon. I'd love to get to know you more, whatever. We go get coffee last night at Common Grounds in Woodway.
This is the two of you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there was another person there for a little bit who's in student government that I know.
Okay.
But yeah, we had a really great conversation, faith-based, stuff like that, right?
Okay.
We're at Common Grounds in Woodway. Didn't know existed. It's a Common Grounds and a slow rise together because
it's a good spot.
Coffee and pizza.
I think it's a younger adult spot, it seems like.
Yeah. It was an interesting vibe.
Not a Baylor spot.
No, it's
sure.
15 minutes away from Baylor.
Yeah,
So, you know, what do you get? So I go, it is by the time that I'm leaving this place, I am parked on this little dirt patch because the parking in the parking lot was full.
Yes.
Okay. What I didn't realize is that dirt, concrete, like gravel patch right there that I'm parked in, that if I drive off of that, I'm in the middle of a field.
Okay.
So it's dark outside again. I needed to back out and drive out, but instead I was like, I'll just pull forward. It's probably just a bunch more gravel. It's a big old nasty parking lot,
this
right?
Is just you in the car? Or
It is just me in the car.
Okay.
It's just me in the car. So I pull forward, right? And then just vroom, 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 vroom. And I was like, okay, scale of 1 to good, this is not.
Okay.
This is not. At this point, I am stuck in the mud, and I'm just like, all right, I got options, okay? I can rev the engine. What's going to happen?
You'll spin out.
You'll get more stuck.
Right.
You'll just stick yourself even more.
Right.
I was like, I can maybe put it in reverse and see what I can get going back. So I did. I put it in reverse. And here we go. Vroom, 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 vroom. I'm going back a couple feet. This is good, right?
Okay.
So I was like, okay. Then I just start spinning again. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go forward. So I vroom, 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 vroom. Go forward a few feet. It's
What
like,
kind of drive is the maximum?
2-wheel, front wheel.
Gotcha.
Not good.
Okay.
Not good. Not good. So I'm going vroom, 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 vroom. Still stuck. Start pulling up, trying to get out. Couldn't get out. Okay. I'm stuck.
Uh-oh.
I Google it. What does Google tell you to do?
I don't know.
Grab a firm surface floor mat. It says take your floor mats, put them up under your tires, back out, or back forward over your floor mats. So I was like, that's fine. I get out. I find a yard sign. I just wedge the yard sign.
You just took someone's yard sign?
Yeah. Nothing doing.
What did the yard sign say on it? It was like one of those political.
I didn't read it.
Okay.
I didn't have the nerve
this is life
to
or death
steal someone's thing and read it.
Yeah, your survival mode.
So I call my buddy. He's like, hey, listen, man, I'm stuck. Can you help me? And he shows up in a van. He has a truck. Well, he had other people come pick him up in a van. They pull up and it's like, all right, well, we can't get us out with a van. So we get out and start to push. Nothing. Zero.
Really?
Not moving. It's stuck.
And then how long has passed at this point? And also, where's the waitress?
Probably 35 minutes. She's already gone. She's long
waitress
gone.
is out.
Right. She's out. We already had our coffee. We're done. Right. So for those who are just joining, we're in the middle of a story. I'm stuck in the mud right now where we are in the story. I called my buddies, couldn't push it out. So now, what do? AAA. AAA is free.
Okay.
So we get AAA on the horn. The other friends are like, yeah, we can't help you out here, man. Just like have fun waiting for AAA. They leave one friend behind. We're just sitting there waiting for the AAA guy. AAA guy calls. He's like, hey man, here you're stuck. At this point, it's 10 p.m.
No.
He's like, here you're stuck. I'm going to come out there. Like, what's your situation? So I was like, man, we're 15 feet from the road. And he's like, 15 feet from the road? I can't help you with that. That ain't good. I was like, what? So apparently we needed to be close to a service. Guy pulls up at 10:45. I was like, all right, I'll be there in 45 minutes. Which,
so why did he change his mind? Just because? You just said
I told him, I was like, well, we're kind of close to the parking lot. You can find a way. You're AAA.
Okay.
AAA can't decline to help you. Like, man, well, you're just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Guy shows up after a while, pulls up, walks out, starts looking around, buzzing around. He's waving his flashlight. He's just, F. I'm like, oh, gosh. If that's the AAA guy's first reaction to my car being stuck, it's just F.
It's like when you call Ghostbusters and they're like, yeah, sorry, this ghost
You are
can't help us.
SOL.
This ghost is going to get you.
So out of luck.
Right.
Yeah. So then he starts waving his flashlight and he's just, F. Like, what are we going to do?
No.
This is our last line of defense.
Right.
So he looks around the car and he's like, look, man, I ain't going to lie to you. You got a strip right here, and if I try to pull my tow truck in here to get your car out, I'm going to get myself stuck. And you're going to be in a whole world of trouble, both of us right here. I can't do that. So it's great. What do? He's like, well, I can charge you $500 right here, right now, and get a chain up hooked under there and pull you out. Or I can charge you $1,000, go get this other piece. I can wrap around your car and pull your car out that way. I was like, okay.
Okay, so we'll take the half option.
In what world should it take $500 to get my car out of the mud?
Apparently this one.
0 worlds.
Right.
There are no worlds in which that should happen. There's no worlds. Or $1,000.
So what'd you do?
So then he stands there, hands on hips. He looks at me and he's like, man, he's probably 24. His name's Cody.
Okay.
Man, I don't want to charge you an arm and a leg. So we got options. I was like, all right, this is going to be good. He looks at my other friend and he's like, you, driver's seat. You're going to be driving. You, me. Back of the car. We're pushing her.
Isn't this what y'all tried with the friends?
Same thing we tried with the friends. So I'm like, all right, Cody, there's no way we're getting this puppy out of here, right? Cody looks down at my feet and he's like, you ain't got shoes on. You're the one in the mud. So Cody's standing on the firm surface. I'm in the mud. We get on the back of the car, right? And I'm like, Cody.
Wait, why did you have shoes on?
Because I didn't want to get my shoes muddy. I had nice
shoes
New
were off
Balances
at this point. Okay.
Shoes are off.
Okay.
I am barefoot in the middle of this parking lot.
Okay.
In the middle of a field. Car stuck. This is a fever dream.
This is country with Cody and the mud and the
I'm meeting Cody where he
toe
is.
deal.
I've got my southern accent on. I'm meeting Cody where he needs to be met at this point. So I was like, all right. And he's like, all right, driver, you are going to press the gas when I say so, not before. 3, you ready? 2, let's go. 1, and then we just start just pushing this thing. I'm not that strong of a guy. Cody's yoked.
Cody's been through it.
24.
Cody's seen some things.
This guy's seen. He didn't go to college.
Okay.
He's been driving tow trucks for a while.
Okay.
And he's 24. He's probably 8 years or so.
Heck yeah, Cody.
So we start pushing. We're going nowhere. He starts rocking the car. So he's like, keep rocking it. Keep rocking it. Lo and behold, rocking the car unsticks the car from the mud, and this thing goes flying. The car jumps up out of the mud, goes just zooming along. Cody loses his footing, grabs onto me from behind the car, pushing the car, and then we almost take it down. We almost take it down. He finally catches himself, catches me. He's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for hitting you. The elation in that moment when Cody, the 24-year-old AAA driver, and I pushed my car out of the mud, which myself and 4 other people could not do, is a moment in history. God was in that moment. That was my high God moment. Cody looks at me, I looked at him, and the hug, the embrace that I shared with the AAA tow truck driver from Waco last night that pulled my car out of the mud, that was my high God moment in my life.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I don't either.
I'm glad you got your car out, though. That's huge.
We just kept dapping each other up. I was like, man, can I buy you dinner or something? He's like, no, you can leave me a review on Facebook, though.
We need to get Cody on the show.
We need to get Cody on the show.
Cody sounds like he knows what he's doing with life.
Because
he's from...
Y'all Baylor kids, ain't ya?
Did he really sound like that?
Oh, 100%. Cody is a corn-fed Southern boy.
Southern man.
Southern boy.
There it is.
Cody and I pushed my car out of the dirt last night, of the mud. And I got my car back safely. I was questioning my entire life.
All's well. I'm glad it wasn't $500. In my mind, I was like, yeah, I mean, $500.
That's what I was saying.
Compared to $1,000.
I got to the point where I was like, all right, Cody, I mean, if it's $500 to get my car out, might as well just buy a new car at this point. And this guy's just hawking loogies, just, all right, we got options. You and I back of the car, we're going to push her. And sure freaking enough, we gave each other like 6 embraces after we got the car out.
That's big time.
A lot of embraces.
I'm glad that y'all got that done, though.
We did. Cody and I together. Corn-fed Cody. I'm telling you, he played high school football somewhere big. He was a lineman.
Somewhere big.
Without it. He was an Allen.
He was Louis Lastic.
He started at Allen. And then just couple, he played college football at probably UT, All-American, and decided that he wanted to do something different with his life, be a tow truck driver.
I'm here for it, Cody.
Lo and flip and behold, the embrace afterward, and then he's like, man, drive slow going out of here. You got a whole lot of mud up under there. Don't want to mess nothing up. Thank you, Cody. Cody was an angel.
Heck yeah, Cody.
And this all started with meeting a waitress at George's who was very talkative.
Yeah, was that a date?
I don't think we can call it a date.
Okay.
I don't think we call it a date.
Will there be a second one-on-one?
I don't know.
Okay.
This is where it's very much like it's very cash.
Okay.
Cash is a good word to put this, but that is the extent of my evening last night.
What a movie.
Yeah, I will say I would have called my fraternity brothers. This is a terrible thing. I don't know if I should say this. I would have called my fraternity brothers, but yesterday was a national holiday.
Right.
And so I'm not sure how many of my fraternity brothers could have helped readily.
Fair.
If we're connecting dots.
Yeah.
So I had to call Cody, and I made a friend for life.
God, I really want Cody on the show now.
What happened to you last night?
Not that. What did I do? Not that. Did the interview, and then what else did I do? That was it. And met a potential roommate for dinner. So it was pretty low key.
Well,
I wish I had like something to rebuttal and say mine was equally exciting, but it wasn't even close.
Yeah. Well, AAA guy Cody and I from Tow Waco.
Is that where Tow Waco?
Yeah.
Shout out Tow Waco.
We have a bond.
Shout out Wake Tow.
We have a bond now. Getting that car out. Just the smile on his face. What a genuine guy. He was there to help. He was there to help, and he didn't want to charge me an arm and a leg. Direct quote, verbatim. I don't want to charge you an arm and a leg.
All right. Give me that arm, give me that leg, or $500.
Literally, when your doctor walks in and just starts waving a flashlight around your throat and is like, F.
What? Yeah.
F. You're like, what do I do now? That was Cody.
Cody's a problem solver. I like it.
And then he saved my life.
I love it.
That's the doctor being like, well, we got options. Lay down on the table. I'm going to cut you open right here, right now. We're going to take care of it. And you just get her done.
Leave me a Facebook review.
I don't want you. Can I buy you dinner? Hey, you can find me on Facebook.
Thanks, Doc.
Toe Waco. TRex on the Impact Health Labs call line. TRex, what's going on, my man?
I'm perplexed.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, A, why you didn't get a business card from him, because he could be a potential, his tow company. Maybe they want to sponsor Up Tempo. Come on, man. Got to pay the bills. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say Cody's probably not their marketing guy or their sales guy, but I think you're on to something.
Hey, man, you need a foot in the door. Foot in the door.
True.
Or should we say a foot in the mud?
Foot in the mud. 2 feet in the mud.
Pew, pew, pew. Nice job, T-Rex.
I'm really disappointed with this story because, like, you set it up like, we met this great girl, this great waitress, and then next thing I know, we're talking about a 24-year-old redneck in the mud pushing a truck, and the girl's long gone. I was really thinking this was going somewhere.
Yeah, I was too.
I really thought maybe she was there, and then she helped you push it out, and then you had this crazy bond. But no, she pieced out.
I
thought she was more crucial to the plot.
Do you have her number? Is this a thing?
I do have her number. It's not a ting. It's not a ting. But she was a vital part of the story last night. She had already left by the time that I was pulling out. I didn't want to call her and be like, hey, come back, I'm stuck in the mud. You don't want to do that. If a girl, you part ways, you're like, oh, bye. She gets in her car, I get in mine. She pulls out, I get stuck in the mud. I'm not going to call her back, come back, please, I'm stuck in the mud, help me.
Yeah.
That's vulnerable.
That's tough.
That's the law.
That's tough.
T-Rex, you get what I'm saying.
There's so many comments that I want to make, so many jokes about. I'll refrain. Anyways,
rich content.
Good story. It's exactly what I needed on Wednesday, my dude's radio show. So, wow, I just had to call in. Once you went from George's to coffee shop to stuck in the mud and the girl's no longer involved, I had to step in.
Yeah,
it's a crazy tandem.
But this is a good lesson for all Baylor students listening. Don't go across town when you have the exact same option within 10 feet of your dorm.
Literally.
Just go to the common ground on campus. There's no mud.
Why was it
the stuck in the pothole, but you're not going to get stuck in the mud.
Exactly. That's what I also. Yeah, you can't get out of the common grounds in Waco now because they blocked everything off.
Was that her call?
Yeah, she was like, "Hey, let's go to common grounds, but let's go to common grounds in Woodway." And I was like, "All right, maybe that's her study spot."
She's off the grid.
It's 3 different restaurants in one off the grid. It was a neat little. Clay Gibson was there. Clay Gibson. You know.
Okay,
yeah. It sounds like you were off the grid where you were stuck, and it took 45 minutes for the tow truck driver to get there.
He did. He was like, "Yeah, man.
Let me tell you about ornamental legs."
Yep. I called my dad, and he was like, "What the flip do you mean you called the AAA?" And I was like, "I called AAA." He's like, "This is when you call your fraternity brothers, you idiot." I was like, "Dad." He didn't say idiot.
What kind of vehicle do you drive? What is this that got stuck?
I drive a 2-wheel drive, front-wheel drive Nissan Maxima 2016, baby. It was
Your friends couldn't lift up the rear end and get that thing going?
No, it was.
If I roll up in a van to help out my boy, we're going to get that car moving. If I drive across town, I ain't going to just leave. See, you need better friends, Drake.
I got to get stronger.
You need guys like GDub. Where's Cody at? He's a football player. He's got connections. He's got to get the offensive line out there.
I need Cody. We need to get Cody back.
Need Cody.
Cody be a good friend to have. Cody's there for you in need. You got a friend.
You could have called Bigfoot. Bigfoot would have helped you. He's used to running around in the mud.
Bigfoot would have helped. Armstrong? I could have called Bigfoot? Armstrong's nodding his head yes. Armstrong knows Bigfoot, apparently.
Armstrong Army could have helped. The fan page.
Oh, man. Yeah, getting Armstrong out there in the mud. Armstrong and mud, 2 things that I can't really picture. Sorry, Armstrong. I know that's kind of...
he could have charged him an arm, and he's strong, so you would have been able to use the chain and got it pushed out.
He's a dinosaur, and he's got jokes. He's a dinosaur, and he's got jokes.
What is happening?
T-Rex, apart from the comical content today, you'll be at the game Saturday, I assume. One can only assume.
Hope so.
I will be there. I haven't been to a spring game in probably 10-plus years since I was in high school, so
why?
I didn't go to school at Baylor, and then I moved out of state, so it was hard to go to a spring game when you're busy doing other things.
But now you can. When the roll is called up.
Now I can, because last year COVID said you can't. Because somebody wanted to eat a bat, but that's okay.
And a pangolin.
That's not okay.
A bat and a pangolin. And look where we got. Look where we got. What are your takes? What are you looking for specifically this Saturday?
I want to see the offensive line at least just get in the way of the defense.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see.
Yeah.
Just get in the way. Just get in the way.
I think you're asking a lot.
I want to see it. Yeah, at least get two hands on. Don't reach. I was an offensive lineman, so I know the struggles, man. But ain't nobody blocking Ika. That dude's a beast. No. So don't even get in his way. Just wave to him as he goes by you.
No, nobody's getting in his way.
But no, I just want to see everybody out there having fun.
Guys being dudes.
Taking advantage of the reps and showing that they're better than we have a very high ceiling this year. Because our floor last year was very low. So I just want to see progression and improvement.
It feels that way, doesn't it? I think the fact that you got Mateos, you got Grimes, it shows the self-awareness of Dave Aranda that, okay, we had problems up front.
Right.
So we got guys that said, hey, we do offensive line. He's like, Cody, I do towing, Mateos and Grimes do offensive line. And so he brought him in. He said, hey, I need your help to get out of the mud. And hopefully that's what it's going to be this season.
Right.
They're going to get this Nissan Maxima out of the mud.
Grimes shows up to get the offensive line out of the mud.
Mm-hmm. He goes,
and then
F.
when he said F, and then when he realizes that he's like, man, I got this whole tow truck, but I'm going to keep it simple.
Yeah.
I'm just going to grab the tight ends. We're going to start pushing. And that's what they've done.
He looks at Aranda and he goes, I don't want to charge an arm and a leg. I'll bring in my guy, Eric Mateus, do a really good job. I'm going to get him right. And we got Connor Galvin up there. We're going to do it right. And
You're going to drive.
You're going to
We're going to get in the back. We're going to push.
We're going to push.
We're going to push her. We're going to get them out of there.
And Treston Ebner's just like, is Treston Ebner the waitress in this story? No. Charlie Brewer's the waitress in this story.
He left.
He got out of town and said, I'm going to go 15 for 15 in the Utah spring game.
And he missed a moment, too.
Missed a moment.
He missed history. And he should have been there.
It's all full circle.
And he would have loved it.
Are there any bear games?
Yeah. T-Rex, what does water taste like?
What does water taste like?
Yes.
It tastes like water, man.
No, you have to be more creative than that. You're a dinosaur.
Man, I've tasted a lot of water in my days, all right? You got well water, you got aquifer water, you got river water, you got, stagnant water, you got infested water.
Well water tastes like blood.
I mean, water, you got all kinds of different water. You got hot dog water. The best water is hot dog water.
Nope. 0%. Best water.
I love it.
T-Rex, Spotify or Apple Music?
Spotify. We've had this conversation before.
I feel like we have, actually. I feel like this has been a question.
I know. I remember this.
Has it really?
Well, I remember I was pro music.
I brought up proprietary technology and all kinds of mess. No, Spotify, man. Unless you're Taylor Swift, but she still hates Spotify.
Yeah, she does. So does Garth Brooks, but he hates everything that's good. I love Garth Brooks, though. You can't hate him. Yeah. T-Rex, thanks for your call.
Thank you, SicEm Bears. Later, guys.
Nice.
Was that homage or shade? A little bit of both.
Homage?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you dip your chip into? Like they taste like mud?
No.
But edible?
That's, gosh.
It's hummus.
I can't think of anything clever.
Sabra.
No, I know, but I can't think of anything clever.
No, you should. No, that's the car that was in Transformers that turned into a Transformer. Would be.
Optimus?
Hummer. There was the Hummer.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hardly know her.
And then you would say,
Hummer,
no, that's a
hardly
really
know her.
hot season that happens in between spring and winter.
Okay, the back end.
Yeah.
I liked it, though. I liked the later guys.
Yeah. I'm glad that I got to carry my own little one-man segue.
Yeah. Congrats.
Moment right there. Thanks, man. I've been working on that for a long time. GDub is on the call line. GDub, happy Wednesday, bro.
Happy Wednesday, bro. It sounds like your story sounds like a normal day in normal night in Hondo, Texas.
Yeah.
It rains.
Woo! Hondo, Texas. I'll tell you what, my life doesn't exist. I am wholly convinced that some of the things that happen in my life are just fever dreams that aren't real. I'm going to wake up one day and still be 12 years old and be like, wow.
It's just a whole Black Mirror episode.
Yeah. My life's definitely a Black Mirror episode. Like, what am I doing at this desk? I'm like 16. What are we? Who made this shot? GDub, I digress. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I I'm coming to the spring game, so I'll let y'all know, so we can hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, man.
So I don't bother y'all too much.
No, we'll be there, all three of us.
Bother?
All right.
Hardly know it.
No, but things I want to see. I want to see who steps up, who they're not talking about. Because every press conference you hear about Connor Galvin, and you just hear about Apu and Jalen and Terrell. I want to see who they're not talking about, who they're not talking about, who steps up in that way.
Yeah, specifically, who do you want to see step up? Is there a name out there where you're like, man, I really think this guy can make an impact this season. I want to see it in the spring game.
Like a guy like Garmin Randolph.
Yeah.
Because when he was coming out of high school, he was a big get. He was a big 4-star get when he was coming out. So I think it's time for him. I'm not saying he needs to step up, but it would be nice for him.
Yeah.
And like a guy like Josh Landry too.
Yeah, the defensive line with Garmin, like you mentioned, he was a freak coming out of high school. He had Bama, he had all over the SEC, and we've seen flashes of him, right, throughout the season. Obviously, last year being a down year, but this D-line's going to have some depth now. I mean, if you can get a guy off the edge like Garmin to step up into his zone and complement Ika on the inside and, Franklin, I mean, they're going to be good.
Oh, yeah. And then I want to see then like the receivers, I want to see because you got some normal cats like Fleeks or Taekwon Sneed, and then you got Estrada. I want to see how deep we can get at wide receiver, because then you get throwing guys like Fleeks, Jalen Ellis, who else? Fleeks,
Estrada,
Jackson Gleason. Because he was one of and like him, he's been just ravaged by injuries, and he was one of the fastest. He was one of the fastest kids in Texas when he was getting recruited.
Yeah.
So it's nice for him to have a coming out party.
No, 100%, 100%.
I think I like GDub's take in the fact that you're looking for somebody that steps up. Like who's going to come up that you don't expect to be there, and hey, this guy is solid and is going to make an impact next season. What I'm looking for, I think, and we're going to get to this later in the show a little bit more in depth, is a Division I quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm looking for an elite Big 12 Division I quarterback.
Yeah, I think who has a great chance to make a splash. We've talked a lot about Shapen, a lot about Zeno. If Gary Bohannon goes out there and just has a day running and throwing the football, because we've talked about how the offensive line could be suspect, like Gary might need to run, whoever plays quarterback might need to run for 70 yards a game, 50 to 70 yards a game, just on pure escape plays. And so Gary brings that for you in spades.
Yeah, and if you have your quarterback run for 70 yards a game, even if they're, not 70 yards, maybe like 25 to 50 yards a game, and they're not specifically great athletes, you're going to win that game, because even though he's not a great athlete, they have to respect it.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, he brings that element. So to see how the offense runs under him, to see what they call for him in this spring game, I'm really excited. I think he could help us up a lot.
Oh yeah. And then the last thing is, I want to see I just want to see how dominant our defense can be. I know that's hard to gauge during a spring game, but I want to see how much, because at times last year there were busted coverages and missed reads and everything like that. And I know with year 2 in this defense, I want to see how much they've improved.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you thought about that, Drake, because I've been hogging the mic here for a second.
Well, you played college football, so I want to lean on that. I think GDub, you probably have your most experience there. I'm not sure. I really want to look at the linebacker core too and see how they complement one another. And so that's kind of where I'm looking to see, okay, say your secondary looks really good. Yeah. Say you got some good guys in the secondary. How does your linebacker core support that, or how do they work together and play together is one of the big things I'm looking for. But GDub, what are your questions for us? Got anything for us today?
The one I have is if you could get, it's kind of a spin off of the bracket, and it's Waco based. George's or Dr. Pepper?
George's.
Oh, wow. I love Dr. Pepper.
George's has Dr. Pepper.
Ooh.
So if we pick George's, though, we can't get Dr. Pepper at George's.
Yes.
I would say my loyalty runs deeper to Dr. Pepper than it does to George's. I love George's, but I've only been in George's like 2 or 3 times. I've had Dr. Pepper in my veins since I was a young boy.
I cut out sodas for the most part pretty recently. I say recently, about a year ago.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to lock in George's on this one. I'm a big George's guy. I cut out soda, so I'm going to go with a fried food restaurant that has only fried food.
It's a Waco staple, though.
Waco staple.
It's a staple.
Sammy, are those guys? Yeah. And
I'm okay with either answer there.
And I met a waitress at George's that led to me getting my car stuck and meeting Cody. And that is God.
But it was a great story, and now we have it on air, and it became a full metaphor for Baylor football.
It could be a sermon. That could be a sermon metaphor.
JP, we'll talk.
Yeah, JP, call us. 254-339-1122. GDub Bear Games question for you today. Hit him.
I almost said JP. GDub. The Bear Games question is, what does water taste like?
Like if it's just room temperature, if it's like ice cold water, it's like it's just like it's a refreshing. Like to me, it tastes like a refreshing. Kind of tastes like a refreshing, like melted ice cream, kind of like vanilla ice cream.
Wow. Okay. Melted ice cream, a little bit thinner, I would say, but I'm tracking with you. I'm tracking with you.
Vanilla ice cream. Okay.
I
Refreshing.
see it.
GDub, the Brazos River or the Waco Suspension Bridge?
Brazos.
Brazos River.
Did the Brazos beat Linda Levitt yesterday?
No, it's not real. This is just a beta. It's a beta test.
Okay,
Brazos
gotcha,
River locked
gotcha.
in. Hey, GDub, thanks for your call as always, man. Love hearing from you.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
T-Dub.
Hey, I was going to tell you this earlier, and I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I don't want this to go unsaid, especially while we're on the show today. And I know there are a lot of folks out there that this matters to, and it's something that matters to me as well. And that's the fact that the first hour of SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo is brought to you by Banson Business Services. Owned by Baylor grad and SicEm365 Premium member Jonathan Green, Banson Business Services offers a full suite of business support and financial services. They specialize in bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced CFO services, and consulting. They can even help you with your taxes. Their business?
Don't they help run my business?
It helps you run your business.
What if I need help with my taxes? Then what do I do?
You can call H&R Block. It's gonna be an arm and a leg. I don't want to charge you an arm and a leg. You can call H&R Block. You can call TurboTax.
I want to keep my shoes on.
And they say free, and then you get in free, and then you get in there, and it's like, oh, this is not as free as I thought it was, right? Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I hate this. But then you go to Jonathan Green at Banson Business Services.
Yes, the Baylor alum.
Yes.
Is he a premium SicEm365 member?
SicEm365 premium member?
Yes.
And you say, I need help with my taxes. And he says, give me your taxes. Banson Business Services.
Let's go.
Boom. They help your business run your business. Banson, B-A-N-C-I-N. B-A-N-C-I-N. Visit SicEm365.com/Banson for more information. Banson Business Services. Again, the first hour, SicEm365's Up-Tempo is brought to you by Banson. I'm Drake Toll. It's J.D. Pickell. We've gone 40 minutes without a break.
I love it.
They're gonna fire us.
We had a good run.
We had a great run.
If this is what gets us fired, then I would say, were you not watching the
Yesterday
rest
was
of
the
our
75th show.
Was it really?
75 shows.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, bro. We're getting old.
I know.
I feel
or at least we think we are.
Maybe.
Unless we're in a Black Mirror episode.
I'm Drake Toll. It's J.D. Pickell. Maybe that's Armstrong Sims. Who even knows anymore?
I don't know.
When we come back, we're going to break down what we need to see from the quarterbacks. Yeah. What do you need to see from the quarterbacks for them to earn their spot come the spring game? This, don't go anywhere, is Up-Tempo.
Halfway there. Happy Wednesday, Baylor Nation, and what a Wednesday it is as spring sports winds down and enters postseason play. Starting in women's golf, the Baylor Lady Bears finished third in the Big 12 Conference play at the league championships with a 6-under par 282 in Tuesday's final round. The number 15th ranked Bears finished just behind number 29 Texas Tech and just ahead of number 32 Oklahoma as the Lady Bears notched a 17-under finished compared to the Lady Raiders 18-under and the Lady Sooners 16-under. Gurleen Carr and Elodie Chapelet earned all-tournament team recognition after recording top 10 individual finishes for the tourney. The Lady Bears have now finished top 3 at the Big 12 Championships and 7 of 9 appearances under Coach Jay Goebel. Prior to his coming to Baylor, the school had accomplished this feat just once. In collegiate basketball, Charlie Huggins, father of West Virginia coach Bob Huggins, has passed away at the age of 87. Duke Ford Henry Coleman III has entered the portal. Texas Tech signed Chandler Jacobs, a Dallas Baptist standout, and Kentucky's 7-footer Oliver Starr has declared for the NBA draft. UCLA's Johnny Juzang is also entering the NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility to possibly return to Mick Cronin's Bruins. And in football, UTEP coach Dana Dimel received a 1-year show cause restriction, and the athletic department was placed on 1-year probation over NCAA violations. The violation consists of the team exceeding limits on size of the coaching staff by allowing offensive and defensive quality control coaches to provide instruction. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ram Truck Month means special pricing on the new 2021 Ram trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, has special values up to $5,500 or 0% for 84 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, Central Texas new Ram commercial truck headquarters with 3,500 and 5,500 chassis cabs and other great work trucks. Visit Allen Samuels today. It's Ram Truck Month.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob.
I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now, back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, and the apparition of Armstrong Sims. I think he's over there. He hasn't said a word
in the flesh.
on
Dude,
today's
he's in his
show.
bag today. He's in his bag
It's
today.
a Black Mirror episode. Why did you move all of the desk stuff?
Because I wanted to interact with the football. I'm feeling like
Okay.
I was throwing it in zone read. And then I tried to bob my head with Kim Mulkey bobblehead, but I don't think it was visible.
Okay.
But it was kind of a, hey, let's see if this works kind of thing. A lot of trial and error. You know? Yeah, Armstrong, do you have a mic today or no? No?
Armstrong's...
I really like...
He's got a case of the Wednesdays.
I wasn't sure. I legitimately was just asking.
I don't have a case of the Wednesdays. No, I'm feeling great today, actually.
Hey.
Well, is that the case of the Wednesdays? Because
Yeah.
If so, I'm
Hump Day.
I have it back.
if so, it is.
I like your jacket too.
Thank you. I woke up, realized it's 40 degrees outside, and that all my jackets were here because I wake up in the morning, it's cold. I put on my jacket, I come to work, take it off. And by the time I leave, it's hot. So I just leave them all here.
Interesting. I like that though.
I'm grinding over here,
consistent, yeah.
working on some premium content for y'all premium subscribers.
Hey.
So stay tuned.
Can you fill us in on what you're doing for premium content right now?
If you don't have
views for the Brazos.
Hey, if you don't have a premium subscription, what are you doing?
That is a serious
What are
question.
you probably hate your
Because-
family and eat lettuce with no dressing. Like, get a life and get a premium subscription.
No dressing.
Probably don't hate your family.
Probably do.
I know
Probably
people that
do.
don't have a subscription that love their family.
Well, I will tell you, we
They're
are
living a lie.
working here behind the scenes. Premium content coming.
In your bag. And is that a peach
That's
jacket?
a real thing.
You said salmon?
Salmon.
Salmon?
Salmon. It's
Sorry,
my color.
I
It's
was
my
just-
color, baby.
I just want to check in.
Big salmon guy.
Yeah.
Big salmon
Wow.
guy for sure. I have actually 5 shirts in salmon.
People
Really?
that don't have a premium subscription say salmon.
No.
Yeah.
Say it isn't so.
Yeah.
You heard it
Say
here
it
first.
ain't
That
so.
unless you are a premium subscriber, you say salmon.
Salmon.
And there's no getting around that.
I wish
There's
there
no
was.
two ways
I wish
around.
there was.
Look at that. Look at his little hub right there.
He's in his bag.
Like the soundboard, the big computer, the little computer, the littler computer, and the iPad. Like that right there, we don't deserve this.
Yes, no, I don't.
There's another
For
computer
sure.
in the back. Look at all the audio equipment. Where did we come from?
It's lit up.
Think about it. Like 4 months ago, we're in a press box in Salado. We're not in a press box. We're in the stands in Salado, Texas, doing a high school football, 4A high school football game. And welcome, folks. We got football tonight. And now we're here.
It's a blue collar up.
Blue collar up.
Blue collar up.
70,
Here
show
we are.
number 76 today. I've been making tally marks in the back of my skull.
There-
Yeah.
We get Luke Wu to put the tick marks
Yeah.
on the back.
He's leaving. Luke Wu's leaving.
Is he really?
He's going to Tampa.
No.
Yeah, my
I
barber's
didn't know
going
that.
to Tampa. That's a good Bear Games question today. Who's my new barber? Barber? I
Colt
hardly
Barber.
know her. Really? I didn't
Maybe.
even think of that. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Be a long trek.
How about it today? So we got football. We got also an emergency guest that's coming in to help us. Joe Cook, who's been on the show before, our resident Texas expert, is going to talk about Chris Beard's hiring over there. We've done a deep dive into all the new head coaches across the Big 12. Football this weekend, the quarterback battles, what everybody's got their eyes on. Everybody's looking at what are we going to see from the quarterbacks. What must we see from the guy? How are we going to know who the guy is?
That's a really great question because I think all three of them do different things differently. I mean, I think they all.
Ooh, wait a second.
They all
I
have
think you're
their
onto
own.
something.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they all have their own niche, right? So if you see Gary playing quarterback, it's going to look a lot more ground and pound, a little bit different tempo than when Jacob Zeno's playing quarterback.
Gary's going to run.
Gary's going to run.
Jacob Zeno's not going to run.
Jacob Zeno is like I compare him to like a Zach Wilson in terms of his mobility. Like he can get out of the pocket and make some things happen, but at the end of the day, he's like a high 4.6 40 guy, maybe even 4.7.
Really?
I think so.
You're kidding.
I think so.
Wow.
I think so, which isn't horrible for a quarterback.
I ran a
but-
4.5.
True story?
Nope.
Oh, that's all right. But yeah, man, I think in terms of what we need to see from the guy, I just want to see some decisiveness. Like there was times last year where it felt like we just didn't know where to go with the ball. It felt like Charlie would drop back, and whether it was his fault or not, whether it's the system, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's just his own blatant mishandling, his own missteps, there were times where he held the ball, double clutched the ball, and Baylor fans got so irritated by that. So I want to see whoever's playing quarterback, whether you're running, whether you're throwing, take your drop, go through progression, and be decisive with the football. I think that goes back to knowing what you see pre-snap and being able to recognize defense quickly. So I want to see these guys pick up on the playbook, show that they've taken these next steps in camp, and just kind of gel with their receivers. That, to me, is the biggest thing. I want to see some decisiveness out of whoever it is that's QB1.
I like the gel with the receivers point that you make right there. Like, what do you need there? How much chemistry must there be between the quarterback, whoever starts, and the receiving core?
Yeah, I think there needs to be enough, because at this point in the spring, it's a new system. All these guys know each other. They play with each other, but this is still a new playbook, I'm sure, to some degree. Like, everyone's thrown the quick out. Everyone's thrown the slant. Everyone's thrown the post. But the timing and the complexity of these plays and the layers that go into these plays, it's all going to be very different. And so for these guys, they're still developing their timing, but I want to see enough to just go out there, be competitive. Like I said, be decisive. If you're not throwing 70% completion percentage, that's fine, but at least take a shot and show me that you know what you're doing, and at least do it confidently, because that's the thing. I want to see some confidence behind this offense, and even more than that, I want to see some competence behind this offense, because we saw it last year.
Preach.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there was just times where it was like, guys, this drive doesn't make any sense. We've thrown the ball laterally twice. We ran a reverse pass. I'm getting fired up. I got to slow down, and my heart's going to burst out of my chest. Yeah, man, I want to see some decisiveness. And so to your point, just enough to be competitive. Show me you're competitive, because this is a good defense they're going against too. The best defense in the Big 12 a year ago in terms of total defense and yards allowed. They only allowed 360, which was best in the country, or excuse me, best in the Big 12, not country, best in the Big 12. They got a mature secondary, so they'll have the work cut out for them. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see these guys go out there and compete and cut it loose.
You ready for this? You ready for
I hope so. I hope so.
And welcome into the Penny Clinic Low T Bears Den. How about it? The Baylor Bears fall tonight to TCU. Final score 30-20. Post-game call-in show. Call us 254-339-1122. I'm Drake Toll alongside JD Pickell. JD, Charlie Brewer throws the ball 50 times in the game today. Granted, he completed 38 of them for 215 yards.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
This is real deja vu right now. Was it really 30-20? Was that the final?
I think it was 30-20. Because it was 30-0, and then I think it was 30-20.
And they made it respectable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to your point.
You missed a lot.
They're gonna go vertical, which I'm so excited for. They're going to involve the tight end.
Think about that.
Ben Sims, Dabney. Dude, the fact that I think it was like, was it 5 to 7 yards completion or something crazy in different games? Like, that just shows that you, A, don't know what you're doing offensively, B, you don't have an identity offensively, and C, it shows that whatever you do think you're doing isn't working. So even if the first two of those aren't true, the third is that, okay, obviously what you're trying to do isn't working, and you're still continuing trying to do that. And so I'm really excited, because they have a lot of playmakers. Like, a lot of the personnel from that 2019 season where they made a run at the Sugar Bowl, a lot of those key guys are still on this team. Yeah. Tyquan Thornton, RJ Sneed,
Ebner.
So many playmakers. Like, they have the pieces. I think their ceiling is really high, a lot higher than people think.
One of the things that's very peculiar to me is I even going back to that 2019 season, I got to cover that season very closely. I was at 11 of the games in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl, in Dallas. I mean, I was up close. I was on the sideline for 11 games.
Yeah.
I never had full sale confidence in Charlie Brewer. How could you? There was never a point where you're like, oh, yeah, I'm confident that Chuck's going to go out in a big game, throw for 350, 4 touchdowns, and we're going to be cool. There was the, hey, I know Chuck's going to be great on the last drive of the game.
Yeah.
That's where he would thrive. But the rest of the game was like, man, what are we going to see? There was never a point where it was like, yes, Charlie Brewer is an elite quarterback. His numbers weren't necessarily elite. I really don't think we give enough emphasis to what he did on the ground, how good he was on the ground.
Very good on the ground.
That said, are we in a better position? Is Baylor in a better position now without Charlie Brewer, with this 4-quarterback battle, than they would be with 2019 Charlie Brewer?
With 2019 Charlie Brewer, it's hard to say.
Or 2019 Baylor offensive line.
Ooh, it's hard to say. It really is hard to say. I think for what this offense wants to do, they're probably in a good spot. I don't think Charlie was the answer, but after what happened a year ago, I mean, I think Baylor Nation in a lot of ways cut ties with Charlie. I don't think it was everybody, but there was enough people pointing the finger, and Charlie felt enough to blame to where it was like, I don't even really know if I'm wanted here anymore. The situation feels bad. I know the offensive coordinator situation was rough. So a lot of things that kind of went together to why he wasn't a fit last year. I don't know that all of them were his fault. But to answer your question, I think the right guy for this team is in that quarterback room. I don't think it'll be a 4-horse race. I think Drones is probably going to redshirt, and I think that just means that, he's going to be the guy in years to come. Let him have another year to develop, and he's already physically ready to play in the college level. Mentally, it sounds like, again, I haven't seen enough practice to know, but from what we're hearing, he's still picking up the playbook, which makes sense. Guy should be going to prom this weekend and not going to play for a spring game. So in terms of those three guys, though, I think the answer is in that quarterback room. I think Gary's a guy that has enough experience. Blake Shapen really does have that it factor from what I've seen from his high school tape and watched him a little bit in the open practice. And then Zeno just feels like the guy who could win the job in the spring. Again, they won't announce it, but I think he could win the job in the spring if he comes out and is just far and away the best guy.
I don't know that we'll see that. And we're going to talk about that more tomorrow and into Friday, our predictions for the spring game. We'll do some props.
Yeah.
How sweet will that be?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I still want to know the format. I have not seen anywhere what the format's going to be for Saturday's spring game.
I hope they split the team up. It's always more fun when you can do a draft.
Man,
I've done both.
But I want to see ones. I want to see the ones together.
Yeah.
And I want to see the ones against the ones.
That's a really good point. Okay, that's a really good point.
I think if you split it up, you don't get a true taste of what the offense is going to look like.
Yeah, I'm being a little bit biased because I've done both. I've had both spring games. It's more fun as a player when you can have a draft, split the team up, green versus gold. Okay, let's go at it. But I'm with you as a fan, as the people that we like to cover and like to have an opinion on these things. I want to see the ones. So that's a really good point. I would hope to just see some ones versus ones and not the ones versus twos. Like, let's get an accurate take as to how this team is going to look. This offense is going to look against what's going to be a really good defense. Like, that's going to be the strength of this team. Baylor had no business being in a lot of games that they were last season, and the defense kept them in it 1,000%.
Yeah.
So if they can keep their end of the bargain, be good.
Jalen Petrie was the best offensive player on the team last year.
He won our Heisman.
Jalen Petrie
he won the up-tempo Heisman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He should have won the up-tempo Heisman. Jalen Petrie was a stud. And now, going into this season, you're going to have to see that again. Man, I just hope the injury bug stays away.
Yeah, you and me both.
Please, injury bug stay away. Where are we going to watch the game from? I know we'll be in the stands.
We'll be in the stands.
I kind of like the
we'll
stands.
meet up.
I'm sorry. You think we will?
I think yeah.
You want to sit together?
Yeah, I was going to say you want to meet up and we'll watch it kind of higher up.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like a little bit just so we can see the
lower
formations.
bowl, but like 50-yard line higher up in the lower bowl? Not like rafters high up. Yeah, not like nosebleeds.
No.
But lower bowl can see the players, but also like get a good grasp of the field.
Yeah, we'll have a good lay of the land and see the formations. We'll get all 11.
Yeah,
it'll be good.
Like 30 rows up at the 50.
Oh, it'll be a fun.
Right?
It'll be a fun time. I think that sounds perfect.
Where else would you want to be?
I think that sounds great. The only other one is like, okay, you could be in the end zone. I don't know if they'll let people in the end zone.
Yeah, but I also feel like the end zone, if they're going down that way.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. It's cool if they're going in, but
you want to go press box side?
Press box side. I'm having trouble visualizing where the press box side is.
So there's looking
river.
at the scoreboard, looking at river.
Yes.
Right side's press box side, left side's dark side.
Opposite of the student section.
Student section left, press box right.
I say press box side. What do you think?
I say press box side. Wow. We just did that.
I'm in.
Today's Wednesday. You know what we do on Wednesdays? We play
Green and Blank.
The Green and Blank game.
Oh,
Armstrong, will you cue the music?
You have one set up? Or are we going off the dome? Okay, hype.
You ready, Armstrong?
I am.
That was delayed. Are you sure you're ready?
I am.
Yes, sir.
Word number one. Let's see how we ask.
No, you're chilling. You're chilling.
Semi. I got my word.
We're set.
All right. And JD.
Pro.
Truck.
Semi-truck. Very nicely done. Pro. Yay.
Were you
Pro. Nice. Really? Pro. Bell. I got mine.
Dozer.
Bottoms.
No, you're Armstrong. Bell hop.
Ooh.
Bell hop. Yeah.
I was also going to go bell tower.
Bell bottoms.
Well, you didn't.
Yeah.
You could have.
I didn't. I was going to, but again, bell dozer.
Lock.
Nest monster.
Oh, shoot. You went way too fast.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I had to spit it out. It came to my mind. There's no filter.
Lock and pop. I understand it's pop and lock, but lock and pop is what came to the mind, so I had to say it.
Pop. Who is that? Pop. We had that person that called in. I'll never forget it. I'm sure she's listening. I think it was maybe Catherine. It was like, I said brick, or I said brick, or I said wall, and she said run through. Wall.
Oh yeah.
Run through.
We've had some hilarious calls.
We've had some really good.
We had one
ones.
guy calling out in postgame and said he could hit field goals more efficiently than whoever was playing for Baylor.
I think it was Joe. Maybe it was Joe.
That's a tough take.
He was ready to kick 40-yarders.
Guy cares about the team.
You got some beef with him too. That was good content.
Yeah.
We need to go find some of those old postgame clips.
That's so funny.
I had lock in. Hannah lock in.
Ooh, good one.
Call. Call is the next word. I've got mine. Armstrong?
Call us.
We might
Call
be on the
us?
same page because I feel the
No
same
way.
way mentally that I think you feel right
Hit
now.
it.
Me maybe?
Oh my God!
Is it Call Me Maybe?
It was me maybe. How did you do that?
I saw your expression. And that was what I was thinking too.
You knew.
We're synced up.
And you knew that it'd be me maybe.
I think these headphones are to the same motherboard.
Yeah,
To where
pretty sure there's just a little guy that whispers things in our ears. This music is a bop. Me maybe. Sound. We're gonna nail this one together, Armstrong. Sound is the next word.
I got it.
I got mine.
Should
What's
we all
yours?
say it on 3?
1, 2, 3.
Board.
Of music.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
I like
There we
soundboard
go.
for sure.
Sound of music. All right, little.
Of music.
Little. I got mine. This is easy. Little.
Okay.
I'm torn.
You go.
You go.
And the goal is to win. Their goal is
The goal's to match.
Okay, Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
Little Caesars.
Little Bill. Little Bill.
I almost said Little Women.
God. Little Women?
Have y'all seen
would've
that?
been good.
Yeah, real
I've
good.
seen
It's a
it,
book, yeah?
Really good. Yeah.
Good book.
Sam. Oh, I get Sam. Armstrong.
Sam Wainwright.
Darnold.
Sam I am. That's what I was going for.
What is Sam Wainwright? Where's that from?
We got 3 of them left that we got to try to
came to
match
my
right here in the
mind.
green and blank game. Ham. I got mine. Ham.
Sandwich.
Ham sandwich.
Ham sandwich is what I had.
From a turkey to a ham bone.
Ooh,
ham bone.
okay,
Bowling
okay.
term. Big bowling
Almost
guy.
said green eggs and.
Ooh.
Wouldn't have
Put
been
it on the
right.
front side.
Wouldn't have been right.
What do you want me to say?
Green eggs and.
I was right there.
Peach.
I almost said that too.
Peach. I locked mine in. This is a Hobo
got it.
Johnson reference. What's yours, Armstrong?
Peach fuzz.
Peach fuzz?
Cobbler.
Peach scone. Peach
Ooh,
scone.
okay, I should have got that when you said Hobo Johnson. I should have got that.
And last but not least, black. Can't say back in.
Mirror.
Oh, I got mine. Armstrong black.
Yeah, sorry, I said that too fast.
Yeah, mirror.
I'm going to go black dog. Black Dog, Led Zeppelin.
Yes, great song.
It is a great song.
Great
All right.
song.
I'm Drake Toll. It's J.D. Pickell. Armstrong Sims Bands and Business Services sponsors the first hour of Uptempo every day, all day. And by all day, I mean 11 to 2, which is all of the day for this duo, the Blonde Boys Power Hour. But we're right back as J.D. Pickell sits down with, what did you say his name was?
His name is Kenyon Sheeran. He runs Elite College Football.
He's got a good
also
jillion
Texas
followers.
News Daily, dude. He is very knowledgeable.
Nuts.
19 years old, very
So
knowledgeable.
good at football.
Yeah.
So good at football. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. This, all of it, all day, every day, 3 hours is Uptempo.
Halfway there. Happy Wednesday, Baylor Nation, and what a Wednesday it is as spring sports winds down and enters postseason play. Starting in women's golf, the Baylor Lady Bears finished third in the Big 12 Conference play at the league championships with a 6-under par 282 in Tuesday's final round. The number 15th ranked Bears finished just behind number 29 Texas Tech and just ahead of number 32 Oklahoma as the Lady Bears notched a 17-under finished compared to the Lady Raiders 18-under and the Lady Sooners 16-under. Gerline Carr and Elodie Chapelet earned all-tournament team recognition after recording top 10 individual finishes for the tourney. The Lady Bears have now finished top 3 at the Big 12 Championships and 7 of 9 appearances under coach Jay Goebel. Prior to his coming to Baylor, the school had accomplished this feat just once. In collegiate basketball, Charlie Huggins, father of West Virginia coach Bob Huggins, has passed away at the age of 87. Duke Ford Henry Coleman III has entered the portal. Texas Tech signed Chandler Jacobs, a Dallas Baptist standout, and Kentucky's 7-footer Oliver Starr has declared for the NBA draft. UCLA's Johnny Juzang is also entering the NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility to possibly return to Mick Cronin's Bruins. And in football, UTEP coach Dana Dimel received a 1-year show cause restriction, and the athletic department was placed on 1-year probation over NCAA violations. The violation consists of the team exceeding limits on size of the coaching staff by allowing offensive and defensive quality control coaches to provide instruction. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia, Jesus died for our Cynthias.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
And welcome back to Up Tempo. I'm J.D. Pickell, and we're joined by a very special guest, the man who is the authority figure on all things college football, specifically on Instagram, social media. Kid has built an empire. Canyon Sheeran, known as Elite College Football, TND, joining the program. Canyon, what is up, my man? Thanks for joining.
What's up, brother? How you doing? You having a good day?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be you, bro.
Hey, I'm doing swell. Can't complain. Got a good workout, and I'm excited to talk Big 12 football and way more. I think we got a lot to talk about.
Man, there's a lot to get into, and we're pumped to have you on, bro.
So for those of you who are under a rock and don't know who my man TND is, can you enlighten these people? Tell them about your story. Tell them who you are, how you built this 477K follower base on Instagram.
All right, well, let me be honest. I'm not going to take all due credit for building that 470,000 follower base Instagram. A guy named Hunter started up, and he gave me the opportunity to come on and join him about 11 months ago to be the live guy. Obviously, it's expanded more of a content guy on ECF. And I just get the opportunity to go live with people like Chris Fowler, Sam Ellinger, Kayvon Thibodeau, who said he wants to win a Heisman. If you've been keeping up with the recent news, Trace McSorley, the list could go on. But basically, it started off as TND, which is Texas News Daily, so I'm a big Texas guy. I had followed Hunter for about 5 years since his account started. He had like 2,000 followers. He never followed me back until about 4 years ago. Finally followed me back, and the rest was kind of history. We became really close, talking about college sports daily, talking about everything daily. And then one day he's like, "Hey, yo, I want you to go live on ECF." I'm thinking he's joking. He's going to change the password after I go live. He's like, "No, I want you to be a part of the team on ECF." So the rest has kind of been history. So now I took my punches. I obviously got a lot of hate for it because ECF was a one-man job for so long. So people hated seeing me on it at first. But then the blessing was seeing the community kind of grow to love me rather than hate me, just by doing the lives with cool people, which was really cool. And now, my story's kind of just, I'm known as that college football guy on social media. If you you see my take and you'll probably agree with it. If you don't agree with it, I don't know what to say, but I think I've built up a respectable opinion in the past. Through Texas news, respectable opinion in the past 5 years. Now, around college football, past 10 months, without a doubt.
I was going to say, man, I'm just backtracking to the lives. I see you go live, and whenever I tune in, I don't know how early or how late I am typically on those lives, but people just come after you. You'll make a pretty reasonable take. Doesn't matter what you say. Someone is coming after TND. Bro, how do you deal with that kind of thing?
First off, I would put myself in their shoes and realize that if I was watching that as a viewer, I would want to disagree with the take too, because I would want that person to notice me. And the way you get people to notice you is by disagreeing. No one's going to notice everyone that agrees with you from the back of the crowd. So I see their perspective. It irks me a little sometimes. It definitely, I say it doesn't get to me all the time, but I'd be a lie to tell you it doesn't get to me here and there. But I just look at it as I don't know any of these people's personal situations. I love that they're a part of the community in the first place. So the fact they're watching me, I'm obviously doing something right. Whether they like my take or they don't like it, they're still tuning in. Yeah,
I mean, tuning in is a good word to say. 477,000. I don't even know 1,000 people. So to have 477,000 people following you, I mean, it's a lot of fun for all of us that follow along. Again, at Elite College Football, at Texas News Daily, at TND, my man Kenyon Sharon joining the program. Now, let's get into it. I love the fact that you post college football year-round. Some people will be fans for the fall, drop out. Right now we got spring football, so it's not exactly the real thing, but for junkies like us, it's as good as it's going to get right now. How much stock are you putting into some of these spring games? Baylor has theirs coming up this Saturday. I mean, what are you watching when these games are going on, man?
My biasness would say I'm not going to give you my opinion on spring games until I can watch the Texas spring game. But from an unbiased perspective, I would tell you spring games are good. Intertwined to see with the talent you brought in. You go look at Alabama spring game. Their 5-star Kool-Aid looked really good at DB. Ajia Hall, I don't know if I'm saying, might have buffered his name, was a former 5-star receiver, kind of dropped down to a 4-star later in the recruiting cycle, had a superb game at Alabama. Bryce Young looked great, new starting quarterback. So it's about looking at that new guy that you added this offseason. For Utah, they got a bunch to look at. TJ Pledger looked great at running back. Charlie Brewer, we'll get into that, looked great at quarterback. And there's a ton of pulls from it. You just have to look at it from that perspective, but you definitely have to pay attention. JT Daniels looked great in Georgia's spring game. They said the defense looked good. The only problem with spring games is you have to see what teams are running it as a scrimmage, two separate teams, rather than running it as the best on one team and the not best on the other team, which is what Herman did at Texas for his 3 years. So when it's a full scrimmage atmosphere, I think it's a lot better.
Yeah, one thing I'm always looking at, and I don't know how much I should look at it, schematics. Specifically for Baylor, they got a new OC. Everyone's excited to see what this offense can do. They were anemic a year ago. How much stock do you put into the scheme these teams are running? Because they're on ESPN+. Other people are watching. I'm sure they're hiding some stuff. I mean, how much stock do you put into that from an X's and O's standpoint, boss?
it's a very hidden scheme. Like, they're going to go out here and show you like some very generic formations. They're going to show you trips. They're going to show you like some basic route trees. But I don't think looking into like scheme and what you're going to see, like for you as a Baylor fan, I'll tell you, like last year we thought we were going to see something with Mike Yurcich at Texas. You don't see anything. You know, you come out there, it's basically the same offense you ran last year. And then it's really, they're putting it in, right? This whole spring they're doing that. But it's really when that fall camp turns around that you're really hard hammering down that scheme. So obviously it's something to watch, but it's not going to be for you. You're not going to have to be too locked in. Like, oh my gosh, let's see if we're going to run one tight end, double tight end. We're going to run two double in the backfield. We're going to run the pistol. Like, I don't think you need to pay attention to that too much, because they'll probably run a bunch just to see what the players have truly learned, but not necessarily heavy on the how – let me word this correctly – how much you're actually going to run that scheme throughout the year. If that makes sense.
And I think that's a great point, especially with Baylor. They got I don't know how much you know about what they got going at quarterback. They got 3 dudes competing for the spot. And the offense is going to look different for whoever's behind center, right? I mean, if you got a pocket passer like Jacob Zeno, you're probably not going to run a ton of quarterback power. So that's kind of the situation we find ourselves in, but couldn't agree more, man. Now, I know you're a Texas guy. You said it before, but let's broaden the scope a little bit for now. State of college football. Is there a Big 12 team outside of Oklahoma that has a chance at the playoff?
I say it all the time. It's Iowa State. And it's weird. Like, bro, I literally just said Iowa State, college football playoff, same sentence. It literally sounds weird. But that team, Matt Campbell has them on the right track. They got one of the best tight ends in the country, the best running back in the country. Hands down, I will argue that Breece Hall is the best running back in the country. They returned all 5 offensive linemen. They got a top 15, probably even top 10, arguably, quarterback. Defense is going to improve. One thing I think they need to definitely improve on is speedy guys at wide receiver. But once again, we haven't seen what talent they have there yet. I like Iowa State a lot, but the problem with Iowa State too is, from the Big 12 speaking, how high of a standard are they going to set for that program? They just set a program historical year. Is that the standard Iowa State and Matt Campbell is going to live up to now, or is that going to be a one and done thing? Whether you return a lot of talent, but it's not an easy task to go to Big 12 championships and win your 6 bowls and beat an Oregon team that was much more talented than them. Weren't better, much more talented from a pure roster standpoint. So, but I like Iowa State, but I also like OU a lot, which it pains me to say it, but I do like OU a lot.
I mean, that brings me to my next question. Is there somebody in this – maybe you just answered that. Within the Big 12, what's the state of the Big 12 right now? Because it feels like there's Oklahoma, Iowa State, and then there's everybody else. But there's also a lot of parity, it feels like, from year to year outside of those two. Like, the tough part is you have to beat whoever's going to win the conference. You have to beat them twice.
Yeah, that's a problem, right? I think it's a good problem to have because the conference championship game is just that much more interesting because of the way we do it. Having no divisions, having the best 2 teams going to the conference championship every year, it makes every game of the year matter. Wish Tom Herman would have learned that at his tenure at Texas, because what could have been, right? But it's great. I don't know. I wouldn't put – see, I love how you put Iowa State in that own league right now. Though I might have just called Iowa State a dark horse playoff contender, I'm not going to put them in that league with OU yet, because I still think they have a lot to prove. Like, to be in that, like, continually top 2, I just think OU's kind of in their own league. And then I'd put Iowa State. My biasness wants to say Texas, because talent-wise, Texas is there, like, besides that point. And then maybe slide – who would I want to put in there with them? I think TCU is going to bounce back really well this year. Right? Max Duggan and co., Zach Evans, Quentin Johnson, wide receiver, offensive line is going to get better. Defense is going to – the defense for Gary Patterson last year, I think he had many heart attacks throughout that year. Like, that defense was not good. So I think they're going to improve a lot. So if I had to include that 3, then we go like Baylor, K-State. Oh, I forgot about Oklahoma State. Dang. Okay, well, we'll have to go back into this, but I'm not going to rank them all yet. But when we do rank them all, I got them ready for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that and there kind of lies my point. There could be any given Saturday where you look at like 7 of these teams and say, yeah, I mean, they could. I mean, outside of Kansas, like, they might have their day, and Oklahoma State might beat Iowa State, or they might beat Texas, or they might not to come at you with Texas, but all that's to say there's a lot of parity, it seems like, outside of Oklahoma, even with Oklahoma during the regular season. But
yeah, without my bad for interrupting you, boss, but I think the only 2 that aren't really parity, and I'm not going to do you dirty and include your team in this conversation. I could, but I think the only 2 that don't really have a chance to compete would be Texas Tech and Kansas. I'm not very high on either of those programs. I think the Matt Willis hire might have been worse than the Dave Aranda hire, which we'll get into too.
Yeah.
But, Texas Tech, they've paved their own grave by doing what they did in the past, which we don't need to get onto all of it. But, I'd say those two are on their own. But I'm not going to lie. I ranked Baylor way too high on that pre-draft. Baylor would definitely be a little way further down looking at this because I think West Virginia is going to be good. Neil Brown, I think he's a top 3 coach in the Big 12. A great guy. He's a good coach. I think Oklahoma State, Spencer Rattler, they have a running back crew that's going to be good regardless. And the defense is always good. Offensive production is always good. I don't know if you watched the duo tandem. His brother, I think, was in this year's recruiting class at wide receiver. He had 180 yards against Miami and 2 touchdowns. But it was really his first time getting a chance because Tylan Wallace kind of overshadowing him.
Yeah,
his name's not coming to me right now, but if people watch that game, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, well, first of all, Oklahoma State is a team that worries me a lot this upcoming season. But, I mean, so I'm taking it based on what you said about Texas Tech. You're not a Tyler Show guy.
I don't think Tyler Show should be a D1 quarterback. I haven't been high on Tyler. I haven't been high on Tyler Show since high school. He regressed in his years at Oregon. Can't convince me otherwise. I think he was better out of high school prospect. I don't like him. Apparently he had a decent spring game up there at Texas Tech. And maybe that'll be that rebuild, and maybe he'll do great. And maybe my coldest take of the year could be I don't think Tyler Show's good, right? Which that would be a blessing. If that was my coldest take of the year, that's great. I won, right? But I'm not very high on him. I didn't like the transfer take. I like Morton. I don't want to say his first name because I know I'm going to buffer it. 4-star quarterback. Did really well in the Elite 11 last year. He's an impressive guy. I wanted him to be a starter. Doesn't look like he's even going to get a chance to win that starting job. Looks like they're basically running off to Tyler Show. I'm not high on him, though. There's case in point. I think Oregon probably would have been a much better team this year if he wasn't the starting quarterback. His passing accuracy is just insane. It's insanely bad, not insanely good by no means. And his pocket awareness. You go look at Kadon Silva's pocket awareness, great.
Yeah.
Right. When you go watch Tyler Show and you're like, bro, what am I? He just wants to run. And maybe that'll work in Matt Will's system and the new OC they hired. I don't know if it will. We'll see how it plays out, though, for them.
Okay, so that's actually good news for me, bringing me to my next question. It sounds like Baylor can pencil in a W there against the Red Raiders. Now, I know you were saying you're not high on Baylor right now. Go ahead and break my heart. What are your thoughts on Baylor heading into this 2021 football season?
I think me being kind would say middle pack Big 12 team. That's me being kind, honestly.
Okay.
Because the Dave Aranda hire, riddle me how you could hire a defensive-minded head coach and an offensive-minded conference, unless his name is Matt Campbell. And I'm sorry, but Matt Campbell and Dave Aranda, 2 different guys for a reason. And you've seen this. You get to watch it firsthand as a Baylor fan. Defense still isn't even that good because his scheme isn't – hold on. His scheme just isn't fit to play against Big 12 offenses as of yet. And maybe this offseason he put in a lot of work, a lot of changes. He really wants to be successful for that Baylor program. I don't know. I didn't like the hire. And I don't know what scheme changes he makes. Maybe he's the next Gary Patterson of the Big 12, right? Maybe in this perfect world he is.
Yeah.
But I'd say, Zeno, you got Drones at quarterback. That 2-quarterback battle is going to be good. I love Drones. Great guy. I think he's going to bright potential there for y'all. I wish I would have landed Jaquindon Jackson. Don't know how bad I wish he would be all starting quarterbacks. I think he would have started for y'all. Sadly, he took his talents to Utah as well as Charlie. Record predictions, I'd have to go look at your schedule. I'll do that right now, but hit me with the next question.
I was gonna say that was sort of my next question because I didn't go live with RJ Young like you did, but he hosted a live and was answering questions. So I shot him this one. I said 7.5 wins for Baylor over under, and he said under at 7, which I was kind of happy with. I was like, all right, a bowl appearance after winning 2 games a year ago. Their schedule, I think, is somewhat favorable. They have to play BYU. They get them at home, middle of the season. Got a couple gimmies right off the bat. Don't get me wrong. They'll have the work cut out for them, but I think they have some favorable games at home.
The biggest blessing for y'all is the start of your schedule. Being able to gain that momentum, go against T-State, go against Texas Southern, go against Kansas. Being able to start 3-0 off that bat, that's a lot of momentum you need. And then you're playing Iowa State at home. Then you got to travel to Oklahoma State, Boone Pickens, Stillwater. If y'all are somewhat decent, it's a nighttime game, and trust me, from a first-hand basis, Boone Pickens, they know how to get down out there. And then I'd see, I hate to sit on here and break your heart. I think the T-State game will give you more worries than you want it to.
Really? Okay.
Why is that? I think that's your toughest of your first 3 games. I'm really high on T-State's head coach. I think they did some impressive things last year. Competed with BYU for a little bit, if I'm correct. It could be – actually, I think I might be completely wrong. They competed with somebody, and I was really impressed by their showing in that game. They have a potential their quarterback right now. His name's not going to come to me, but go watch his highlights. You'd be really impressed. So I think that – not saying y'all are going to lose that game by any means. Sure. I think it's more stress than you – a little bit worried on that game besides Texas Southern and Kansas. Kansas is a wreck. Texas Southern, come on. So if we went off that, say I gave you the win versus T-State, that's 3-0. Lost to Iowa State, lost to Oklahoma State, lost to West Virginia. There you go, just like that, 3-3. You could easily beat West Virginia. BYU, an interesting one. Don't know if I'm going to give you the win over that one yet. I need to go.
In Waco, baby. In Waco. Come to McLean. It's a ruckus crowd.
Hey, just because you're at McLean doesn't mean you can fit 100,000 people, all right? Relax now. But we'll see how that one plays out. BYU, that'll be a good game. They're a really well-disciplined team. I think they were a top 5 defensive team last year in college football. Didn't lose much talent there. And I need to see who their starting quarterback is before I make a prediction on that game. And then I had you losing to Texas. No biasness. No biasness. I just don't think you're going to beat Texas. I'd give you all like 6 wins. I think you'll pull off K-State, Texas Tech. 5-6.
Interesting. Okay.
That sounds bad. I hate doing this on a radio show because I like a Baylor. I don't want Baylor fans attacking me. That's not the point of this. The point was just like I'm not very high on Baylor this year alone. I want to see Drones at quarterback. I'm not high on Zeno, and Zeno could shock me. He'd be great. Sure. OC, don't know much about him. It's like LSU right now with Pets. I don't know much about a lot of these programs. A lot of changes. Don't even know much about Texas. I just know recruiting wise, you've been middle pack of the Big 12 in recruiting. Sure. So middle pack predictions is the most likely outcome because we haven't seen the difference between Rule and Randall staff. We haven't seen some insane developmental stuff that we saw with Rule that we've seen with Aranda yet. Maybe we might see it this year. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think there's a lot to be said for what this offensive staff is going to do because they pretty much cleaned house a year ago. They brought in Larry Fedora. He's gone, which I think a lot of people are unfortunately kind of relieved by. George Munoz, I think, got a bad rap. He's also gone. But they brought in some guys that I'm excited about with Grimes from BYU, Mateos from BYU, Chancey Stuckey, who's supposed to be the man from Clemson as a receivers coach. So, I mean, all that, obviously, here's what my bias shows, right? Like, I'm optimistic about what Baylor will do offensively. And defensively, I mean, they were number 8 in a weird stat, which was passes intercepted per attempt or something along. It was like interception percentage. They're number 8 in the country. Number 1 in total defense in the Big 12. If I'm quoting these stats right. So I'm optimistic because they bring everybody back except for William Bradley King. He'll go to the league. So there's some continuity there, which has me excited. I mean, there's a lot of question marks. Who knows? They could come out and lay an egg, but I'm really optimistic about this team. I'm with you. I still think middle of the pack probably. I mean, it's hard to go from 2 wins to 10 wins. I don't think that probably is going to happen this year, but
that's a Rule type jump. And then if I counter your stat, I don't think you had the number 1 defense in the Big 12. I think it was OU, if I'm correct.
Yards allowed.
Yeah. So maybe not total defense. I think Iowa State was also above you in some categories too. But that defense with Mike Rose, that's just a really impressive defense and scheme-wise. So, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I got to watch Baylor Texas this past year, so that was fun. Scoreboard was a lot of that. I don't know if you watched Baylor Texas last year, but scoreboard made the game feel a lot closer than it was. Like, the game was never close, but the defense looked good. So the defense, I did pull that from that game. Defense looked good. Offense was just, I felt bad for Baylor fans at that game. Like, just watching that, being there, I was like, if you travel to that game as a Baylor fan, I was like, imagine coming to a game, like traveling to Austin, Texas, coming to DKR and just watching this offense not be able to move the ball at all. Dude, it was sad.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing the post game. We're getting calls just saying, like, what is going on offensively? Like, this was the team that went to the Sugar Bowl a year ago. What? Like, there's a lot of the same guys minus Denzel Mims. What is going on? I mean, it was nauseating. So I'm grateful to hear that you had some sympathy for us in Waco because it was bad, bro. But,
yeah, I had to have a little sympathy, like, to go from like Big 12 championship and Sugar Bowl to that. I was like, that's rough. You know, like my condolences, but it's okay because my team hasn't been back since 2009, so it's okay. Don't hold.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. We'll move on to that then. Well, first, thank you for your condolences. We're going to take those and hopefully move on to a better offensive season, if nothing else. Pivoting to Texas, people in Waco like to make a lot about Texas. I think everyone in the Big 12 likes to make a lot about Texas because y'all are a brand in college football. Like, Texas will just always be relevant no matter how many wins or losses. I really think Steve Sarkisian could be the answer, but what say you? Is he the guy in Austin to finally get over that hump, or what are your thoughts here?
Steve Sarkisian, I hope you're not listening. At the beginning of the Steve Sarkisian hire, I didn't like it at all because I feel like Herman was on that cusp of really getting it done. Like, that team was like, you go look at, like, we could sit here and argue on this on a hill, but that 2018 Texas team was 9 points away from being undefeated, went on to curb stomp that Georgia team in that Sugar Bowl. I think that was a playoff caliber team, without a doubt. Had a top 10 defense, top 15 if we're talking total defense, had a top 20 offense. Team was good. Offensive line, best offensive line we've had since 2009. Herman had some good things cooking up. I mean, that's the past. Let's focus on Steve, though. Steve, I like the hire. I not necessarily like the Steve Sarkisian hire. I love the staff he brought around him. Between the Charlie Strong and the Tom Herman hire, if you look at the differences in the two hire, one brought an elite staff with him, and one brought a non-elite staff with them to Texas. And that's it. You go hire one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, PK from Washington. Great hire. You go basically say, I'm going to still call offensive plays, but I'm going to bring in AJ Milway, and then go take some Kyle Flood, call him co-OC, Jeff Banks, call him this. Let me go steal some Alabama coaches and then bring him here. So I'm excited. I think the team, if I could give you anything, I'd say the team loves them. It's a different environment in Austin. It's weird saying that, but it's like Herman was stricter. Okay, he was like this is what we're gonna do. If you saw the P chart, you lost off-season workouts, you were eating burnt biscuits, hose water, like you were on a different. You had to rebuild. Like, Texas was bad. That Charlie Strong era was rough. So Steve Sarkisian doesn't have to do that much. He's coming into a team loaded with talent, top 3 recruiting classes. They're just having fun, and they like the new staff. They feel more connected with the new staff. And I think that's all you want from a player perspective. Expectations, though, I don't know. I need to see the spring game. I'll be there on Saturday. I'll probably DM you about it, how I feel about it. I love Casey Thompson. I've loved him for a long time. Offensive line needs to take some steps without a doubt, and pass and run protection. Bijan, it's going to be just really fun to watch. Wide receiving core, the thing is, the talent is it's there. Like, the talent, like, I don't know, like, if we're going to continue to make this head coach excuse, but, like, the talent is there. Like, we Texas fans are like, Texas as a staff can only have excuses for so long. You got 5-star BJ Foster. You got, like, your starting DBs. You have 5-star Tyler Owens, who's a safety moving to linebacker. 5-star DeMarvion Overshawn, who's a safety moving to linebacker. Both your starting linebackers supposed to be 5 stars. Like, there's no excuse for you to not win at least 8 games. There's none. That's the Texas standard is 10+ every year, but sadly, I feel like our standard had to lower over our past coaches.
And yeah, I mean, we talk about that on the show. Texas as a whole is the hardest place in my mind to coach in the country, because you're not just coaching, you're managing boosters, you're managing the brand of Texas. Is that something that is a buzz around Austin as much as it is in Waco? Because I think we're sort of thinking like, hey, there's been a lot of good coaches come through Texas and just have been not even equipped to succeed before they get there based on what the boosters are doing.
Who do you feel that way on?
I think Herman was a good coach. I think Herman, what he did he was successful everywhere until he got to Texas. And I think it's really hard when the people with the money are telling you to do different things. I think that is a lot of
I think it goes beyond just boosters. I know people make it the booster argument all the time. You want to go look at a real corrupt situation with boosters, it'd be the Auburn football program. That's where we could talk about really bad boosters. I think for Texas, it's just Texas isn't just a brand in the United States. It's not just a brand in college football. It's a global brand. It's like, we could say and argue day to day. I think it's the biggest brand in college football. Revenue proves that. Sales prove that. Global awareness proves that. If you go ask somebody what this is, they're going to know this rather than they're going to know what this is. You know what I'm saying? Or like, what is this? They're going to be like, well, what is that? Hey,
that's a bear claw, baby.
That's a bear claw for you, but we know that. But like, you go ask other people. I'd say it has a big role. I think coaches just need to find a way. Somebody at one point has to tell the boosters or whoever's in charge, let me do my thing. And I think Herman started to get that free time and kind of felt free, and I think that might have hindered him a little bit because he kind of felt like he could slack off and lose games he shouldn't have lost to. I love Chris Del Conte. I think it starts with Chris Del Conte as an AD. You know that you're in charge of the boosters. Don't put any reflection on the coach. That coach should not be in charge of your boosters. Point blank, exclamation point. That's just how it should be. So I'm excited. Just biggest brand in college football. I'll live and die by that. But boosters, I don't want to sit here and thrash the Texas boosters. They've got a damn good program in every other sport. I think Texas is back in every other sport. Then if we're talking boosters and Texas being good at sports, it's just they're good at everything besides football right now, or elite at everything besides football and basketball. But basketball's still pretty good this year.
Yeah, man. I think there's definitely a lot to be excited about as much as we like to bash y'all on the 40 acres. I'm going to get in trouble talking too much about Texas, bro. Let's move on to more of a neutral topic. I know you're kind of an Austin guy, not in Austin, but you're affiliated with Austin. Another guy affiliated with Austin, a one Charlie Brewer, who was, for a lot of people, the problem, quote unquote. I say that as I was in the minority thinking he was not the problem in Waco. Dude lit it up at the spring game. 15 for 15, bro. Didn't throw an incompletion. I mean, do you make it? Am I being over dramatic and saying that Charlie Brewer was not the problem in Waco, or what? I mean, what are your thoughts there?
You're not being over dramatic at all. I mean, first off, can I just say, a Texas guy can never watch a Charlie Brewer game in peace without hearing his dream school was University of Texas. He's from Austin, Texas. Golly, one thing I'm glad about the transfer is I don't have to hear that across the TV anymore. Really impressed. I'm excited what he can do at Utah. Utah's a better coaching situation right now than Baylor. Flat out, I'll say that, and I think I believe that.
More proven. More proven. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, without a doubt, that staff is way more proven.
Right.
I think they're a lot more tight knit. He's got a lot of talent around him. I'm excited to watch Charlie Brewer, and I think he wasn't the problem at Baylor. Problem at Baylor was coaching changes. Problem at Baylor was staff turnover. Problem at Baylor was recruiting. Like you want to take those teams to be like Georgia game was a prime example. Recruiting, why Baylor needs to be recruiting at a higher level. They're recruiting at a higher level, and they let y'all know it in the Sugar Bowl. It's just how it goes. So I like it though.
That's fair.
I like Charlie Brewer at Utah. I've liked it since the beginning. I thought he should have retired, honestly, with his concussions. I was really worried for him from a guy. I think I've had 4 concussions myself. I had to retire from football, so I was worried him from that perspective. But now seeing what he's doing, I want him to succeed. I want everybody to succeed. Athletes should all be cheered for whether they left your school, whether how much you hate them. You should never want to see someone fail in life. So I'm wishing him nothing but success, and I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. And I will say that I think that the Baylor community has done a good job of being happy for Charlie, for the success he's had so far for Utah. So I'm excited to see what he does. I'm with you. I was a little bit worried about his health, but I mean, if he can stay healthy and continue to perform at the level he did in the spring game, sky's the limit for him in that program, especially this season. Moving on to one of my last questions for you. I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention the pandemic, right? How much are you giving these first-year head coaches, a la Dave Aranda, in that first year as a head coach during a pandemic? I mean, not to mention Dave Aranda hadn't even been a head coach before the pandemic. I mean, what are your thoughts there on how he handled that, and how much of a pass are you giving those guys?
I tell people this all the time: don't judge. If you have a first-year head coach through COVID, don't judge it. My judgment comes from Dave Aranda is not based off your results last year. It's just based off my personal belief. Dave Aranda is head coach, but don't judge it. It was a year where we were just blessed to have football on TV. We were blessed to be able to see those guys that were going through COVID testing 2 times a week, putting their tail in line for us for some entertainment, for some football, which I think we needed. We were at a time where beyond pandemic, there was a lot more going on. We needed some unity, something to kind of all rally behind. Just not much judgment, much judgment to it at all, because recruiting never got to say. We don't really know how good of a recruiter Dave Aranda is. I bring up past recruiting classes, but how 2022 looks decent.
Yeah.
I mean, to start off right now, it looks pretty decent. Visit's about to start coming up. Don't dig into it from a Baylor fan. If I could tell Baylor fans anything, just watch this year. He made coaching changes quick. That's what you like to see. It means he really wants to bring immediate success to that program. So I'm excited for Baylor. I'm excited for the Big 12 as a whole. You said it's going to be more parity. I completely agree with that. I say it all the time on live. I think Pac-12 is going to have more parity too. I think the Big 12 is going to have more parity. I think the ACC is going to have more parity besides Clemson. I think Clemson will still be in a league of its own. SEC, I don't see much parity more going there besides Alabama, Georgia. I mean, maybe throw A&M in that conversation. Maybe Ole Miss makes a little run. I'm excited, and don't judge him, Baylor fans. Just don't do it. He tried his, bro, we were all just trying our best. And he's over here trying to have a new scheme, coach all these players, get to know all these guys, put them through spring training, hire the right people through COVID. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I could barely do my online college work to graduate high school last year. Like, imagine having to run a football program, So we'll see how it plays out.
Absolute craziness. I mean, they didn't even see their guys in pads till August. I mean, that's like almost football time is August. If you're just seeing your guys in pads, you got a problem. Not to mention the new staff. I'm with you. I'm glad you said that. I've taken too much of your time. TND. I almost called you. TND is who you are. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, you're right. TND takeover is the kind of the personal TND handle, and then ECF is that one. But yeah, it's been a good time. I appreciate you having me on here. You didn't take up too much of my time. I could sit here and talk about football for hours. I'll go ahead and say it. Wishing the Baylor program nothing but success this year. I'll go against my own religion here because we are ECF too. So SicEm.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Success, brother.
I appreciate it. Hey, before I get you out of here, we do these things called bear games.
Okay.
It's like a non-football question. And it's just sort of to add a little bit of fun. We are up-tempo here. That's what we call ourselves. Here's my question for you. Is water – let me try that again. What does water taste like?
Hold on.
Taste test. I like it.
Bro, why are you making me think of something I've never thought of before? I just drink water.
Hard-hitting questions here on up-tempo, bro.
It tastes like nourishment for the body.
Wow.
That's what I would say. Nourishment for the body. That's what it tastes like. Bro, I can't flavor my water. I can't do anything to it. My water has to just be water, or else I just think I'm wasting perfectly good nourishment. So I guess that's what my mind thinks because that's what I've called it for so long. It just tastes good. It's refreshing. It's like a sip of something you need. It's not like soda. You take a sip of soda and you're tasting like the foam. It's not the same. You take a sip of water, you're like, deep breath. It's nice and relaxing. It's not like cracking a cold one. It's just a nice water. So we love to see it.
That is the most thoughtful answer I've heard. Well, TND, appreciate you again. The man who is behind Elite College Football, Texas News Daily, Kenyon Sharon. Thank you so much for coming on.
Just one of them. There's two of us. Don't forget Hunter Reeves. We love Hunter.
The man behind the live.
Yep. Have a good one, brother. Stay up.
Appreciate you. See you soon.
Oh, hold on. I got to say it. Y'all stay up. Y'all stay blessed. I appreciate y'all tuning into this. If you've tuned into the lives, you already knew I was about to say that. But I wish all y'all but success in life. Don't know what y'all are going through, but I'm proud of y'all. Keep pushing. Keep being you. Keep doing you. And as always, stay up. Stay blessed.
That's the man. We'll be right back on Up Tempo.
Halfway there. Happy Wednesday, Baylor Nation, and what a Wednesday it is as spring sports winds down and enters postseason play. Starting in women's golf, the Baylor Lady Bears finished third in the Big 12 Conference play at the league championships with a 6-under par 282 in Tuesday's final round. The number 15th ranked Bears finished just behind number 29 Texas Tech and just ahead of number 32 Oklahoma as the Lady Bears notched a 17-under finished compared to the Lady Raiders 18-under and the Lady Sooners 16-under. Gurleen Carr and Elodie Chapelet earned all-tournament team recognition after recording top 10 individual finishes for the tourney. The Lady Bears have now finished top 3 at the Big 12 Championships and 7 of 9 appearances under Coach Jay Goebel. Prior to his coming to Baylor, the school had accomplished this feat just once. In collegiate basketball, Charlie Huggins, father of West Virginia coach Bob Huggins, has passed away at the age of 87. Duke Ford Henry Coleman III has entered the portal. Texas Tech signed Chandler Jacobs, a Dallas Baptist standout, and Kentucky's 7-footer Oliver Starr has declared for the NBA draft. UCLA's Johnny Juzang is also entering the NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility to possibly return to Mick Cronin's Bruins. And in football, UTEP coach Dana Dimel received a 1-year show cause restriction, and the athletic department was placed on 1-year probation over NCAA violations. The violation consists of the team exceeding limits on size of the coaching staff by allowing offensive and defensive quality control coaches to provide instruction. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Penny Clinic Low T Bears Den. What solid insight. I mean, college football, elite college football. J.D. Pickell talking about the Baylor Bears spring practice and what is to come for Baylor. I'll tell you, there's some big news across Baylor athletics in the last couple of days. Within today alone, just today alone, we found out a couple of volleyball players were honored with national awards. Yassiana Presley for the second year in a row. She is a first-team All-American this season, AVCA first-team All-American. Along with her, Lauren Harrison is an All-American honorable mention. So both of those coming out today, the news of Baylor Athletics. Having a couple of other athletes that are recognized and then still up in the air. Matthew Meyer, 70-30 on whether or not he will end up going to the NBA. Along with that, you also have Jared Butler, who is yet to declare what exactly he will do. And then coming up this weekend, you have the spring game, green and gold, where Baylor will take on, Baylor. And what I want to do right now is get into the quarterback battle. That's been the hot topic and what I want to see. We got about a 10-minute segment right here before we hit another guest on the other side of this. We're going to talk Texas basketball. Joe Cook is going to join the show and talk Chris Beard. But I want to take a second to give my thoughts, my input on the quarterback battle and what we're going to see on this Saturday in the spring game between Gary Bohannon, Jacob Zeno, and then Blake Shapen and Kyron Drones. There we have heard a lot of people say that there's separation. There's 2 and 2. You have Gary Bohannon and Jacob Zeno, the more experienced two, and then you have Kyron Drones and you have Blake Shapen, right? See, I'm not quite there. I think all 4 quarterbacks have been put on the same scale, same pedestal right now, and they all 4 have the same opportunity and ability to be able to start next season. I think everybody got a clean slate coming in. Jacob Zeno has that prowess, that pedigree of like, all right, he's the guy. You know, he started in football games before. He's played in football. He's played in football games before. He's played in big moments and big situations. Mind you, when Charlie Brewer went down in the Big 12 championship game between Baylor and Oklahoma, and Baylor was down by, 10, 13 points, who came in? Jacob Zeno wasn't the first guy off the bench. It was Gary Bohannon. Gary Bohannon tossed a touchdown pass, made a couple of clutch passes. He didn't look great. I didn't think he looked great. He did not look like an elite Big 12 quarterback, but Gary Bohannon was the first man up in that situation when Charlie Brewer went down and Baylor was looking toward a quarterback in 2019. Take you back. 2019 early season. Gary Bohannon against Stephen F. Austin. He's the one that got into play. In those smaller games where you needed a quarterback to come in, it was Gary Bohannon. Gary Bohannon against Kansas State came into the game when Charlie Brewer went down and the game late needed to be sealed off. Gary Bohannon did it. He was the one responsible for that. It wasn't Jacob Zeno. And Gary did a great job in those moments, too. So everybody's got this hype around, it's Jacob Zeno, it's Jacob Zeno, it's Jacob Zeno. Because Gary got hurt in the Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma. Zeno had to come in. He threw 2 passes. Both of them should have been touchdown passes, yes. One of them was a pretty casual drag route. One of them was an unbelievable, great throw on the far sideline by Jacob Zeno. 2 throws, though, 2 completions in any game do not solidify you as the quarterback. I can tell you, Mitch Mustain was a quarterback for the University of Arkansas. Came into a game against USC where the U of A is getting blown out. He comes in and looks like a stud. Next thing you know, he's the next thing. He's the best thing since sliced bread, going to be a Heisman winner. He transfers to USC. He was a dud. Mitch was never really that great in college football. And not to say that Jacob Zeno is going to be that Jacob Zeno is going to be a bust at Baylor or a bust anywhere else, but I think you have to take the Jacob Zeno hype with a grain of salt. You have 3 other quarterbacks who are very capable of being starting quarterbacks. I have pros for each. I have cons for each. Reasons that I like these guys, reasons that I don't think they'll be elite Division I starting quarterbacks, especially in the Big 12 that's had really good quarterback play in the last few years. It's volatile in places, but look at Oklahoma. Heisman winners in Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, now they have Spencer Rattler. Look at Brock Purdy. Sam Ehlinger had some really good highlights. Charlie Brewer was a guy that was vying for Big 12 All-Conference when he had a great season in 2019. I don't know if I see that out of any of these guys yet, but one of the things that I want to convey going into this weekend, say that Jacob Zeno's not the guy. Say that Baylor comes out and says, hey, no, we have enough trust. We have a lot of confidence in Gary Bohannon and what Gary's been doing in our practices, that Gary's going to be our starting quarterback. Then as Baylor fans, as Baylor analysts, accept that. And when Gary goes out, drive number 1 against Texas State in San Marcos, first game of the season, say he throws an interception, that doesn't mean that Gary Bohannon's not the right guy for the job, that he's not the one that Dave Aranda should have out there under center taking snaps. Remember back to last season when Charlie Brewer was the best option for Baylor. There was no offensive line. I won't say that I could walk out there and play offensive line, but I know some guys that if they'd have really tried hard, they'd have at least had a shot. right? It was that bad. And people's response to that was, Charlie Brewer stinks. He's not good in the big moments. Charlie Brewer's lost it. Too many concussions. Get Chucky Brew out of there. Well, it wasn't his fault. You're going to see at Utah that Charlie Brewer's a fine quarterback. Elite college quarterback? Maybe not. But a fine quarterback that can win games, get you the Sugar Bowl, be able to put a good product out on the field. In the same sense, say that you name Gary Bohannon. Say that you name Blake Shapen or Kyron Drones, your starter day one. They go out there, first possession, toss a pick. Make a rookie mistake because they're not experienced quarterbacks in the Big 12, experienced quarterbacks in the college football scene. Live with it. Guys, there's so much hype around Jacob Zeno is going to be the starting quarterback. I just want to set for everybody here right now, myself included, that if Jacob Zeno is not the starting quarterback, there is no reason to question what the Baylor coaching staff is doing. We have no authority to question Jeff Grimes, who just had a Heisman caliber quarterback, top 5 draft pick in Zach Wilson, and say, does he really know what he's talking about in starting Blake Shapen at quarterback, in starting Kyron Drones, Gary Bohannon, or even Jacob Zeno? Maybe these guys won't work out right away. But I'll tell you this, you got to give them time. You got to give the quarterbacks time. You got to give the offense time to set in. And I don't know that you're going to see on Saturday in the spring game, in the green and gold game, one person step up and say, hey, I'm an elite quarterback. Because that's something that I'm not sure you can ask of these 4 guys that don't have experience yet. Along with that, though, for those of you out there that are saying, like, I have every right to complain. I'm a fan, and that's what fans do. You've got a point. Same thing that we saw with Charlie Brewer last year. There is at a point where you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, all right, Charlie Brewer is not an elite Heisman caliber quarterback. Charlie Brewer is pretty good at football, but he doesn't have the pieces around him to be able to win a lot of ball games, period. Same thing can be said about these 4 quarterbacks. And I know, if you take you back to Sean Bell, 2007, right? I'll take you back 15 years or so ago to when the Baylor quarterback battles looked a lot different. You weren't looking for a Heisman winner. You were looking for a guy that could put it out on the football field, do something that was somewhat good, and try to bring you to a bowl game. Can we get back to that for a second? You're going to have to get back to that for a second. You can't ask any of these 4 guys to come out and win the Heisman in year number 1 as a starting quarterback. Somebody of these 4, one of those names, Zeno, Shapen, Drones, and Bohannon, one of those 4 guys will be the starting quarterback for Baylor next season come the first game. That doesn't automatically make them an elite all-conference caliber quarterback. It does not automatically make them a Heisman contending quarterback, and we got to take a second to take that deep breath. Now, like I was going here, though, for the skeptics, for those that are like, I should be able to complain. Yes. There will come a time, like I said, when you can say Charlie Brewer's not an elite quarterback, and that's right. You're not a pessimist for saying that necessarily. You're a realist. I said on a post-game show every day, every game last season, and said, look, Charlie Brewer is not an elite quarterback. He's not a Heisman quarterback. He's not a guy that's going to go out and win a playoff game in the NCAA. And that's not me being a pessimist. That's me being a realist in saying that. So if these guys go out next season and Jacob Zeno or Kyron Drones or Gary Bohannon or Blake Shapen, they don't have Heisman caliber years. They don't throw for 3,000 yards. They don't throw 40 touchdowns. And you say, they're not an elite quarterback. Well, you're exactly right. But at the same time, how many quarterbacks are elite in college football? There's not that many. And how can you ask for one of the 4 guys that still haven't stood up and gotten the job, won the job? How can you ask them to be one of the few elite quarterbacks in college football? Again, you got to bear with what you have as a staff, a new staff, and as a fan base, as analysts. You got to bear with what you have. And Baylor football might not have a lot at the quarterback position next season because you have a guy who's not experienced at being a starting Division I quarterback. You're going to have that. None of the 4 guys have that experience. That's just reality. On top of that, you've got 4 guys who all have very different styles of play. So here's the deal. I have been around programs that have gotten in situations where you're in a constant rotation of, well, this guy sucked today. Who's next? Well, this guy sucks. Well, you got a couple other guys. Put them in. Well, this guy sucks. Put the other one in. See if he now they all suck. What are we going to transfer portal? What can we do? What can we do? And I don't think, I know, Baylor's not Texas. And I say that in the way that Baylor doesn't have the same toxicity around his program as Texas football does. So say that one quarterback goes out there and maybe they're just par. They're just about, they're good. They're not great, but they're pretty good. Well, that's okay. That's fine. One of those quarterbacks out of the 4 is going to be a good quarterback, going to be able to hold their jockstrap against Big 12 opponents and win 6 games in conference. Well, that's a lot of games. That's 6-3 in conference play. I know anybody would take that next year. It's 9-3 overall. It's a lot. I'm confident one of the 4 guys in that room can win 6 games at some point as a starting quarterback for the Baylor Bears, but you got to give it time and you got to be patient. I firmly do not think that we will see that guy this Saturday step up and be an elite Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, even Sam Ehlinger. I know, it hurts me to say it too. Type of quarterback, Brock Purdy type of quarterback at spring practice on Saturday, and that's okay. If we had, I firmly believe if Baylor had a Brock Purdy or a Baker Mayfield or a Spencer Rattler, that they would have already stepped up. They'd be the next guy ready in succession to take over Charlie Brewer's job and be the starter. But that guy is just not there. And Baylor, it's a reality that folks are going to have to live with moving into this football season. That all said, maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe all of us will show up to the green and gold game Saturday. Jacob Zeno will go out. He'll go 15 for 15, drop a 250 piece and 3 touchdowns in one half a play against the first team defense. And then you're going to start questioning the defense, obviously. But you got confidence in that guy. Maybe it's Gary Bohannon that does it. And just because it's not Jacob Zeno doing it doesn't mean that you got to jump off the Jeff Grimes train because you're so high on Jacob Zeno. Because let me tell you what, it's a 4-quarterback battle and a battle for a reason right now. No one has the job. Jacob Zeno's not guaranteed the job, even though he's played a few snaps, legitimate snaps too. I'll give him that in games for Baylor so far. That doesn't notch him the starting job for this season. And whoever it is starting, have faith and trust. Because let me tell you what, I don't care who you are or who needs to hear this. Unless Bill Belichick's listening, I've got a lot more confidence in Jeff Grimes running this offense than I do myself or anybody else out there. I got a whole lot of confidence in Jeff Grimes, what he and Dave Aranda have put together, and I trust that whoever they put out there at quarterback on Saturday and whoever they put out there on quarterback on September 6th in San Marcos will be the right guy for the job. And if they don't cut it, then they'll make a change. But you got to ride it out with them, Baylor folks, because this is a new era of Baylor quarterback. And I can't tell you which of those 4 guys is going to be, but write it out with them. If they're mediocre, call them mediocre. Don't sing their praise too high, but don't bring them down, because it's going to take a team effort, a group effort, to be able to make a bowl game even next season when you think about what Dave Aranda had to build from with Matt Rule leaving and a recruiting class that just didn't meet the par of what Baylor should be at. I'm Drake Toll. It's Armstrong Sims. When we come back, Joe Cook's going to join the show. And then Ashley Hodge comes on as well at 1:30. To round out this last hour of the show, Joe Cook's going to talk Texas basketball, the hiring of Chris Beard. Beard, now at his alma mater, they're trying to put something together and win games down there in Austin, which folks haven't been able to do in a long time. Rick Barnes was cut. Shaka Smart was cut. Can Chris Beard do it? Joe Cook's going to help us break that down, why Texas hired Beard and why it's the right fit for both parties. And then Ashley Hodge will join us to talk transfer portal and Baylor basketball recruiting at 1:30. Again, I'm Drake Toll. It's Armstrong Sims. When we come back, Joe Cook joins the show. This, come on, bring it in, is Up Tempo.
Halfway there. Happy Wednesday, Baylor Nation, and what a Wednesday it is as spring sports winds down and enters postseason play. Starting in women's golf, the Baylor Lady Bears finished 3rd in the Big 12 Conference play at the league championships with a 6-under par 282 in Tuesday's final round. The number 15th ranked Bears finished just behind number 29 Texas Tech and just ahead of number 32 Oklahoma as the Lady Bears notched a 17-under finished compared to the Lady Raiders 18-under and the Lady Sooners 16-under. Gerline Carr and Elodie Chapelet earned all-tournament team recognition after recording top 10 individual finishes for the tourney. The Lady Bears have now finished top 3 at the Big 12 Championships and 7 of 9 appearances under Coach Jay Goebel. Prior to his coming to Baylor, the school had accomplished this feat just once. In collegiate basketball, Charlie Huggins, father of West Virginia coach Bob Huggins, has passed away at the age of 87. Duke Ford Henry Coleman III has entered the portal. Texas Tech signed Chandler Jacobs, a Dallas Baptist standout, and Kentucky's 7-footer Oliver Starr has declared for the NBA draft. UCLA's Johnny Juzang is also entering the NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility to possibly return to Mick Cronin's Bruins. And in football, UTEP coach Dana Dimel received a 1-year show cause restriction, and the athletic department was placed on 1-year probation over NCAA violations. The violation consists of the team exceeding limits on size of the coaching staff by allowing offensive and defensive quality control coaches to provide instruction. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots.
No, go find your own.
Come on, give me some of your tots.
No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Brian, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Rounding out the 1 o'clock hour today, talking college basketball. We've moved from spring game football, volleyball All-Americans. I mean, the whole slew of things going on right now. But how about basketball? We missed it. In the middle of Baylor winning a national championship, there were a bunch of head coaches hired across the Big 12, and one guy who went intra-conference from Texas Tech to Texas, and that was Chris Beard. Joe Cook now joins us from inside Texas to help us break down a little bit more the inside of why Chris Beard would leave Texas Tech and why he would go to Texas. Joe, thanks for joining the show today with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Drake.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure for us here on the show. I know we had you for basketball earlier this season, and your prediction was spot on for that game. And so I can't wait to get your analysis on Chris Beard coming over to Texas. I want to know, Joe, first and foremost, it's been a tough place to get over the hump. You look at Rick Barnes and Shaka Smart, guys that were hired to get over the hump at Texas, win a national championship. This Chris Beard hire, it's not a lateral hire. They're getting a coach who's been to the title game. Where's the confidence level that this is the coach that does get Texas over the hump and wins one in Austin?
I think there's a lot of confidence and I think you can see because this is who they targeted. There was a couple names that were mentioned throughout the process, and every coaching search always has a couple names, but this one was at the top every single time. And this is who they wanted. This is who they went and got. And you mentioned Rick Barnes and Shaka Smart. Rick Barnes, unfortunately, was let go because he couldn't reach the heights that he had set in the mid-2000s with the Kevin Durant's, PJ Tuckers, DJ Augustine's, those types of guys. Shaka Smart was given a very unique opportunity at Texas. Not very many coaches who wear burnt orange and white get to learn on the job. And whether that was an NIT win, COVID-19 canceling 2020, all that stuff, he got 6 years to learn on the job. And it resulted in 0 tournament wins. It resulted in a first-round loss to number 14 seed Abilene Christian. So what they're expecting with Chris Beard is kind of what he did at Texas Tech. They want a guy who may not play the prettiest style of basketball, or they're getting a guy who may not play the prettiest style of basketball and may sometimes be brash. Not that that's a bad thing. I think college coaches can be like that at certain points in their career, but they're not getting like a X's and O's expert, but they are getting a guy who just wins. And I think that's played out over the past few years in Lubbock. I mean, this is the best they've had since I don't know when. I don't think you can get much better than the national finals appearance for a school like Texas Tech's basketball program.
Joe, with Chris Beard, I mean, this is what someone called our show. It said this is the end game for Chris Beard. It's his destination job. For those that don't understand it, I kept reading tweets like you would go from a rival to another rival. Why would you ever do that or move within conferences? What a traitor. But I see it a little bit differently, and I'm sure you do too. Fill us in on that.
Well, I mean, Texas Tech, he obviously elevated that program, and he got guys like Jarrett Culver to go out there and become, a lottery pick, Jameis Ramsey, David Moretti, guys from those tournament teams, those national title contending teams that were really good players. But he had to work for those guys. And you also saw there was a lot of roster turnover year over year at Texas Tech. At Texas, he has to work for those guys still, but it's a little bit easier destination to recruit to. I'm not sure if a guy like Kentucky transfer Devin Askew is going to go to Lubbock. Now, going to Austin, I think that's a little bit more palatable, and I think that's what a big reason why he took that job. I think he thinks that there's easier path to elite talent accumulation at Texas. And we even saw that with Shaka. I mean, for all his on-court troubles that he had, he still was able to get guys like Jared Allen, like Mo Bamba, even like Jackson Hayes, and now Kai Jones seems destined to join him too. So talent accumulation has not been the problem in Austin. It's just been developing and deploying that talent. And I think Chris Beard realizes that in Austin, he has access to a little bit better talent or doesn't have to work as hard, I guess you could say, as he would if he were still out in Lubbock.
Joe, along with that, I love that you brought that up. You talked about the Jared Allens and the Mo Bambas at UT. It's not like Shaka Smart couldn't get NBA caliber, great college basketball talent into Texas. Chris Beard will be able to do the same thing. He proved it at Texas. If you can, like you said, if you can do it at Texas Tech, you can do it at Texas. What is different now? Shaka Smart couldn't win in the big games with that talent. What's going to be different for Chris Beard in this program?
Like I mentioned, it's hard to put your single finger on anything at that point, but at the same time, just his track record is one of being a winner, whether it's at Little Rock, whether it's at Tech, where, all the different stops he's had. It's just this understanding that, where Shaka was kind of a flash in the pan with one great, phenomenal Final Four run at VCU and still great years in the Atlantic 10 at Virginia Commonwealth. That's at Virginia Commonwealth. Whereas Chris Beard, not only did he learn under Tom Penders at Texas, Bobby Knight at Texas Tech, Pat Knight for a couple of years. Not only did he work for those guys, he then took all the different things he learned from those guys and made it a success at the Power 5 level in one of the toughest basketball conferences in the entire country. So they're expecting that. As far as X's and O's, there's probably going to be a lot of similar defensive principles. Both Shaka and Chris Beard are very, very big on defense. Chris Beard obviously operates that no middle. The difference you'll see on offense is Shaka was basically married to a high pick and roll offense. There was not much variation outside of that. And Chris Beard runs something, I think, a little bit more motion oriented, which takes some time and takes some experienced players to help make run. But the way he's building the roster, gathering transfers, whether it be from low, mid, high majors to trying to gather talent through the high school levels and even bring some Texas guys back, it seems like he's setting up to where, I'm not going to predict that they're going to make this deep tournament run, but it looks like he's going to have another competitive team, a tournament team this far out, looking at it, almost 12 months away from the tournament.
Along with that, Joe, you talked about some of those players he's already been able to accrue there at Texas, and Beard's, his pedigree, it precedes him, especially his recruiting pedigree. Talk about recruiting coaches, though. I mean, this staff that he's built at Texas, give us some insight for those that maybe haven't looked at it on what he has built alongside him on the bench.
So Ulrich Maligi was one of his lead assistants at Texas Tech and responsible for a lot of the different guys, I think, from the DFW area, helping get those guys. I think Culver went to one of his most talented players was a Lubbock product. Still credit there for bringing him home. So you have Ulrich Maligi, who follows Chris Beard from Tech. You have Jarence Howard, who was an assistant on Bill Self's staff at Kansas and one of their lead recruiters. He was a guy, a lot of the very elite, 5-star targets Texas is trying to throw their name in the hat with. Jarence Howard was working on them while he was in Lawrence at Kansas. So that's a plus recruiter. Rodney Terry is leaving his post as UTEP's head coach, going to Texas, joining him as an assistant. That's head coaching experience. Chris Ogden is he's not going to be on the bench, but he's going to have some sort of role within the staff. And although that doesn't mean he can get out on the road and see people at AAU events, he still knows how to recruit, work phones, talk to kids. And even Bob Donwald, I believe is his name, a guy who has been big within the player development circles. He's on that staff too. So there's a lot of different facets to this staff. And, every now and then, you'll see all the big college basketball insiders like the Goodmans, the Borzellos, the Rothsteins. And when they were making these hires, I saw Rothstein mention, this isn't a staff he's building. This is an army.
Yeah, well, that's strong words, especially from a guy like Rothstein, who we have had on our afternoon show here at the station, and he knows his basketball. So I don't know if that's comforting for Baylor fans. Thanks for that, Joe. With the recruiting, though, not just the coaching staff, like you talked about, you got Timmy Allen, Devin Askew, and then Andrew Jones staying. I mean, that was a recruiting job in itself to keep a guy like Jones in Texas, or in Austin, I should say. His recruiting pedigree, it speaks for itself. But I want to give you a chance to speak for it.
So I think you're going to be able to see his recruiting pedigree on display depending on who he gets to come back for that extra year. Like you mentioned, you already got Andrew Jones, who made his decision to return. Jace Febris, a three-point spot shooter, also returning. Some of the remaining questions are Courtney Ramey, Matt Coleman, and Jericho Sims, and even Greg Brown. Kai Jones has already made his declaration. I think he's going to hire an agent. But those are all guys that Chris Beard is working on and wants to have back for another year. And it's going to be interesting to watch because, aside from maybe Greg Brown, none of those guys probably have domestic professional aspirations at this point. Maybe Jericho Sims, but at best, right now, any of those guys are second rounders. And of course, you can still go overseas, make good money playing basketball. But what Chris Beard is going to try to do is convince all these guys that, hey, if you come back, not only will you win, be able to cement a new type of legacy at Texas, help me, help yourself, I may be able to set you up better for your professional prospects in future years. So what I'm paying attention to recruiting wise is really if he's able to get some of these key roster pieces from the 2020-2021 team back for another season, because if you're able to do that, there's some sort of continuity from the year before. It's not 12 brand new guys. And of course, there's already a couple that he has gotten back, like the ones I mentioned, even Brock Cunningham. Everybody's favorite player in the Big 12 is going to be coming back, and it looks like Courtney Ramey is also going to return too. So he's doing well thus far, but the big fish still out there simply from the Texas roster are Matt Coleman, Jericho Sims, and Greg Brown. As far as looking into the high school ranks, they lost everybody from their 2021 signing class. I think 3 followed Shaka Smart to Marquette, and 1 more ended up going to Indiana, I believe, to another brand new head coach there. So there's a few more that they're looking at within the 2022 class, including guys within the in that there's a great collection of talent in DFW, I believe, in this cycle, and they're all over those guys and trying to turn over every rock around the country. And Chris Beard said in his introductory press conference, we're going to recruit the best players in the world. And he didn't, that's pretty broad, but that tells you what he's doing. Wherever they can find them, they're going to try and find them. But luckily, they only have to go up 35 and compete with Scott Drew and his staff, too, for a lot of those players in the 2022 class.
Joe, along with recruiting high school kids, that's kind of become on the back burner, an afterthought for a lot of college coaches now with almost 1,500 players currently in the transfer portal. College basketball is a business now. There is free agency, and it's an unlimited free agency with the NCAA's new regulation that says the one-time transfer is open, and a lot of guys are taking advantage of that. Chris Beard's ability to recruit the transfer portal, whether it be at University of Arkansas Little Rock, that's why he built it so quickly, or at Texas Tech, how is that going to translate to the program at Texas?
He's going to need it this year. As you saw, there's a few guys that are coming in this year, and they're going to probably need that year over year, considering that's what Chris Beard has done. He's seemingly added somebody every single season, and McClung at Texas Tech is his most notable example from this past year. So I think that's going to be a very, very consistent aspect of his program. One thing is that Texas fans for a long time, and there's always some truth to it, have always talked about how the graduate school programs, whether it be master's degree of any sort, they don't like cutting corners. If they take somebody who is, maybe if these are your standards and it's 2 notches below, well, that doesn't just affect that affects the entire graduate school program. There's no footnote like, oh, he's playing basketball, oh, he's playing football. That affects an entire graduate school program when there's a lot of money involved there. So that may be a limited factor. Sometimes I think that Texas fans overblow that aspect. But that's kind of only a grad transfer issue now that I think of it. As far as one-time transfers, I think Texas has pretty regular standards that any other coach, any other school in the country does. So they're going to try and make sure that if there's a roster hole out there, they can fill it up. And they competed with Oklahoma, I believe, for the 2 brothers who just committed to Oklahoma from Eastern Washington. They wanted those guys. Those were transfers that weren't grad transfers, but moving their way up. I think Devion Harmon was a guy they were maybe still interested in at Oklahoma. I can't remember if he's made a decision yet. Even I think Brady Manick, before he ended up going to North Carolina, that was someone they threw their name in the hat on. So they're trying. They're going everywhere that they can and checking in the portal. And I think it's going to be something that's continuously part of Chris Beard's recruiting strategy.
Joe, I'd love to tiptoe around it, but it'd be tough to. It takes tough skin to coach at Texas. There are certain parts of, and you've seen in the past where toxicity in different programs has gotten to coaches or gotten to athletes and made things tough for certain guys in those jobs. How does the possibility of a toxic environment that may come about in the next 4 or 5 years, What gives, I guess, you confidence that Chris Beard will be able to take that full on and win through any issues he may have with donors or the fan base or the brand that Texas is across the world?
So I'll backtrack here. I think Shaka Smart, a very great person and pretty good coach. I think everybody can kind of see that. He sort of closed himself off. He was very, very restrictive. He made sure his circle was tight, and that's very, very strong, but he didn't reach out as much as he needed to. And reach out not only just to the fans, but people involved. Of course, sometimes boosters can be meddling, but they're also boosters. You need them in their program. And I think sometimes Shaka Smart didn't make the right amount of outreach necessary. I know it's easy for media to complain about maybe not having the access, but I think that's, a logical complaint for that era. I think that Chris Beard will know how to manage the people as better than Shaka Smart did. He'll know how to maybe massage some of those issues out instead of being confronted by them right away. But at the same time, you still have to win. And I think that for, $5 million a year, literally football coach level money, people are going to have these high expectations that, this should be a tournament team and a successful team in the Big 12 right away. I think you have to lean that way considering how much money they're paying him. And also the fact that Chris Beard is fully on board. He's all about winning. He called, and I wrote this on Inside Texas, in the midst of Baylor's national championship run, it's kind of a braggadocious thing to say for a team that got knocked out in the first round, but he said this Texas was a Monday night program. It's never been one. That's what he wants to do. It's only been as far as that Saturday night in the Final Four, and that got derailed by Carmelo Anthony 18 years ago. So he is setting the expectation at getting Texas to a place that it has never been to. That's a risk he decided to take, but he's a confident person, as we've seen over these past few years. And, he's going to seem like do all he can to make sure Texas gets to that point.
Joe, last question for you here before we get to our Bear games. When you think about from an objective standpoint, where Texas should look, where you think they will look 5 years from now, looking back on the 5 years that have come, what do you see?
I think that Texas fans in the past few years, all they wanted really was safe tournament berths and top 3 Big 12 finishes and being in contention for that Big 12 title. I think Chris Beard will have them there, at least by the end of that time frame. I think that the thing that with me is that those consistent tournament berths aren't as easy as people think. Only a handful of programs make it literally every year. It's not easy. So I think, a fair, at least in my opinion, a fair checkpoint for them to reach over that 5-year period is probably making 4 tournaments out of 5 years, not being, completely off the bubble in that 5th year, being competitive for the NCAA tournament and being safely in it 4 or 5 years, being competitive in the Big 12 and, in that last week of the season, being talked about as a potential, place where the trophy has to travel, where they may need it. I'm not sure how much people put emphasis on Big 12 tournament wins, and it was a nice touch for Shaka Smart this year. But the thing is, wins in March, wins in the tournament, and that's something this program hasn't had in, I think, almost a decade or however long it's been. So that's where people want to see. And I think that there's a lot of football excellence in Texas, or football excellence standards at Texas, that gets mixed in with basketball, and people say, this should be a Sweet 16 team every year. Well, that's tough. Just like there are only a handful of teams that make the tournament every year, there are only 16 Sweet 16 teams. So at the same time, I think Texas fans would like to see Chris Beard, putting together competent teams that don't just, flat out struggle in certain aspects of the bulk of the game for long periods, and are competing for the Big 12 safely in the tournament and, making runs.
Joe, thanks so much for your input and analysis on Chris Beard and the hire at Texas. I appreciate what you bring to the show, especially from a Texas perspective. I want to ask you, though, before you get out of here, the Bear Games question of the day today. What does water taste like?
I'm going to say it tastes like the bottle. It all depends on what you're drinking it out of. So It tastes like the bottle, tastes like the water fountain, tastes like the hose. That's what the taste is. It's not water itself. It's where it's stored.
It's the receptacle.
Made me think on that one.
Wow. That may be the best. What an astute observation, Joe, on what water tastes like. Hey, I mean it sincerely. Thank you so much for bringing your analysis to this show, especially on short notice for us today, and giving us a look inside Chris Beard and what his tenure should look like at Texas at least. That was awesome, Joe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Again, that was Joe Cook joining us from inside Texas, breaking down things across Longhorn Nation and their basketball program. When we come back, Ashley Hodge joins us to talk Baylor recruiting and the transfer portal. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Halfway there. Happy Wednesday, Baylor Nation, and what a Wednesday it is as spring sports winds down and enters postseason play. Starting in women's golf, the Baylor Lady Bears finished third in the Big 12 conference play at the league championships with a 6-under par 282 in Tuesday's final round. The number 15th ranked Bears finished just behind number 29 Texas Tech and just ahead of number 32 Oklahoma as the Lady Bears notched a 17-under finished compared to the Lady Raiders 18-under and the Lady Sooners 16-under. Gurleen Carr and Elodie Chapelet earned all-tournament team recognition after recording top 10 individual finishes for the tourney. The Lady Bears have now finished top 3 at the Big 12 championships and 7 of 9 appearances under coach Jay Goebel. Prior to his coming to Baylor, the school had accomplished this feat just once. In collegiate basketball, Charlie Huggins, father of West Virginia coach Bob Huggins, has passed away at the age of 87. Duke Ford Henry Coleman III has entered the portal. Texas Tech signed Chandler Jacobs, a Dallas Baptist standout, and Kentucky's 7-footer Oliver Starr has declared for the NBA draft. UCLA's Johnny Juzang is also entering the NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility to possibly return to Mick Cronin's Bruins. And in football, UTEP coach Dana Dimel received a 1-year show cause restriction, and the athletic department was placed on 1-year probation over NCAA violations. The violation consists of the team exceeding limits on size of the coaching staff by allowing offensive and defensive quality control coaches to provide instruction. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Halfway through your week. And rounding out the 1 o'clock hour today with Ashley Hodge of SicEm365 talking Baylor basketball because it's not done. They just won a national championship, but Scott Drew and company, they're still on the recruiting trail. They're putting things together because the transfer portal's popping, and some of these younger guys still have not signed the dotted line. Ashley, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, good to be on, Drake.
Always great to have you and great to get your Baylor input, Ashley, and that's kind of where I want to start. You've got before I even get to Baylor, really, the recruiting, we talked about the transfer portal yesterday. You have almost 1,500 guys now, I think it is, or more that are in the transfer portal. Is college basketball, especially with what the NCAA ruled, with the transfer rules, the new rule, is college basketball a business now, and is this a free agency?
For the first time ever, it's a business. No, I say that sarcastically. It's always been a business to some degree, but obviously this is taking it up to a whole nother level. You got less loyalty with school. It's all about what can you do for me this year? And I mean, the beautiful thing about Baylor is it seems like they have a stellar culture. I may say that and somebody puts their name in the transfer portal tomorrow, but I think they're expected to keep all the guys that are planning to return this year, which is really hard to do in this day and age. And it really speaks to the culture that Scott Drew's built.
Along with that, Ashley, when it comes to hitting transfers in the transfer portal, are there any of those names, maybe guys that have come out and said, hey, here are my top 5, Baylor's in it, or are there names that maybe you've heard through the grapevine that the university or the program Scott Drew could be targeting?
Yeah, I think a couple names to concentrate on is Jalen Pickett from Siena. He's a bigger guard. He's transferring. He was all league in that league. The MEAC I think it's the MEAC that he's in, and he's a guy that can play point guard. He's not the most athletic in the world, but he's 6'4". He's got a 6'8" wingspan. He's a good defender. He reminds me a lot of Royce O'Neal. He's got that old man game and really savvy player. But there's some stiff competition for him. I think Michigan's on him very hard. Syracuse, and I can't remember the other one. And then you got James Akinjo from Arizona that's just announced he was transferring a few days ago. And I think he's a guard that would really fit well with Baylor. He can score the basketball. He's a good assist guy. He played at Georgetown before he went to Arizona. His coach left Arizona, so he's on the transfer again. But he's a guy that could come in and probably average double figures. He did it with the Arizona and the Pac-12, performed very well, all Pac-12 level. And then you got some other guys that just recently announced. Devontae Jones at Coastal Carolina. That's a guy that we played against, and he performed pretty well in that game. And he's another double figures scorer. I think he could be a guy that Baylor would look at. And then, of course, Ty Washington. They're one of the 6 teams that's still active in the Ty Washington recruitment.
Ashley, when it comes to fitting culture, I know it's really tough, especially for a lot of these teams that are picking out of the transfer portal. Beggars can't be choosers. Luckily, Baylor's not in a position where they have to be beggars. They can be choosers right now through the transfer portal. How much this becomes finding culture players? Because to me, it seems like it'd be a lot harder to find culture players that are leaving a program to go play college basketball at a different place rather than building that up from a new guy that's coming in out of high school.
Yeah, no, it's an outstanding point. I think ideally you want guys that are in your system for a few years, and the fact that they're able to keep these guys in their system is huge. And when we may look at it at the end of the year and say a guy like Zach Loveday or Jordan Turner is better than any transfer we could have gotten. Now there's some really good transfers we're looking at, and I think an older guy would be my preference, someone like a Jalen Pickett or a James Akinjo, because I have a lot of confidence in LJ Cryer. I think Adam Flagler's terrific. I expect Matt Meyer to return. So, if you got that nucleus along with Jonathan Chamwachachua and Flo Thamba, and you've got, you can add another proven veteran scorer that can give you double figure scoring, I think that's a win-win. And I think today's basketball, you got to have 2-point guards. And so I think they're going to concentrate on guys that can play the point.
I know you mentioned too, Ashley, Ty Washington and his recruiting process. Baylor named in his top 6. I tweeted out only one of those 6 teams has won a national championship in the last 5 years. Right. Baylor being the most recent. But a guy like Ty Washington, where would he fit into not just Baylor's culture and system, but also into this recruiting class that's already loaded with 3 great guys?
Well, he probably has the most upside. I don't know if he has more upside than Kendall Brown, but as far as the guards that we're looking at, he has the most upside. I mean, he is a very talented scorer. He's got an explosiveness. You would say, well, you want a guy that's done it on the D1 level, but he's been playing against D1 high-level prospects all year long. The Geico Nationals is always the best high school prep teams, and he performed very well there. And so I think he's a guy that would come in and you would feel like he's probably a one and done type of player. That's what they're projecting him as. And, I think he can score, he can distribute. He's got a lot of high basketball IQ. The question for me always with freshmen is on the defensive end, because I've yet to see a freshman come in and just be a lockdown defender. It's very rare. We're talking about this on the message board. As great as a guy like Kevin Durant was, Texas under Rick Barnes, their worst defensive efficiency in Rick Barnes' coaching career came the year that Durant was a freshman. They were like 92nd in the NCAA in defensive efficiency. They had a lot of other young players, but they went 25-10. And you think about, man, how awesome would it be to have Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the NBA, and going to be one of the 50 best in NBA history. But as far as his impact on a college team, it's more about the legacy he left afterwards than the actual performance on the court that year. So in my book, getting an experienced guy, especially on the defensive end, is huge.
Ashley, with the way Baylor's set up, you mentioned LJ Cryer, a guy that got some decent playing time there at the first part of the year and into conference play even, and then Scott Drew kind of shrunk down that really Elite 8 that he played across the span of the rest of the season. Zach Loveday, and we mentioned what he could be able to do next season. Dane Danger coming off a red shirt. If Baylor doesn't go out there and pick up anybody really out of the portal, will you be A, surprised, or B, leery or worried about what the Bears have coming into next season?
Yeah, I mean, they got to pick up an experienced guard. They just lost too much with Teague and Mitchell and probably Butler. He hasn't made an announcement, but we're expecting that Butler is going to stay in the draft and, projected first rounder. So, they lost too much in my mind to not get a quality guard as a replacement, especially coming off a national championship season. I think they're going to get a really high quality player. But, that being said, I think whoever they bring in wouldn't surprise me at all if Matthew Meyer and Adam Flagler are the two leading scorers. And it really wouldn't surprise me if LJ Cryer is the third leading scorer or somebody like Jonathan. I mean, those are proven players that are outstanding, great culture fits. They've been in the system for over a year. I got a ton of confidence in LJ Cryer. I think he's going to be terrific. He can shoot the basketball as good as anybody in the country. He's got elite speed. You look at his speed numbers compared to Davion Mitchell, and you'd be surprised at how similar they are from just a pure speed standpoint. So I think LJ Cryer is going to be terrific. But that being said, modern day basketball today, it's 4 out, 1 in, and you want to have 2 point guards on the court at all times. And so I think getting another point guard is crucial.
Ashley, along with that, Scott Drew, we've talked about it, just won a national championship. I mean, him and his staff, you would think that there's time, you win a title to just soak it all in and enjoy it, but it seems like immediately, especially as guys were committing while Baylor was still playing in the NCAA tournament to different schools, he's hitting the recruiting trail. What did these couple of weeks post-championship victory look like for Scott and his staff?
Yeah, I think it's a situation where, the national championship, incredible, and it's a blessing. There's no other way to spin it, and it's a blessing on the recruiting trail. Believe me, going forward, there's guys in the 2022 class that we're probably going to reel in that we might not have reeled in if we didn't win a national championship. But from you are behind the 8 ball a little bit because other schools have gotten a jump on you on this transfer market, and when you win a national championship, the players that helped you win a national championship, their pro stock is elevated. A guy like Matthew Meyer may not have even declared for the draft if he hadn't had such a good tournament. Now I do expect him back, and I think I'm going under that assumption that he's coming back. But it is a challenge. I mean, you don't get much time to enjoy it. Those coaches have to hit the road recruiting or hit the Zoom recruiting, I guess you would say, and just really look at these 7 or 8 guys that they're targeting and try to nail down the one that's the best fit and the one that's going to really make the biggest difference for Baylor next year.
Ashley, last question for you here on Baylor recruiting and the current state of Baylor basketball and their recruiting. What is the next big step? What's the next big win that Baylor needs to make in the next few weeks to be able to build another championship caliber roster going into next season, or do they already have it?
Well, I think getting this point guard, I would say lure in one of these guys I mentioned, whether it's Pickett or whether it's Kenjo or whether it's Ty Washington or somebody that we haven't talked about that's of a similar caliber. If you can lure one of those guys in, I think they're going to be in the hunt next year for a national championship. I think they're going to be the favorites to win the Big 12, depending on what Kansas and Texas do to finish out their roster. But those 3, in my mind, are in West Virginia. If Deuce McBride comes back, that's another formidable opponent. Those 4 teams are really the ones I would focus on in the Big 12. But I think finishing it out with a point guard is crucial, and that's what I expect the Bears to do.
Ashley, I know I said last question, but I was kidding. Along with that, before we get to Bear games, I do want to mention, because we've had a couple conversations on the show today about new coaches in the Big 12. Of these hires, the Mark Adams at Texas Tech, Chris Beard at Texas, Porter Moser at Oklahoma, and on top of that, TJ Otzelberger at Iowa State. Any one of those hires, is there a guy where you point to and say, whew, this makes things kind of dangerous for Scott Drew and Baylor's possibility of continuing to dominate in the Big 12?
Well, I've read on Twitter that Chris Beard has assembled the best staff in the history of college basketball. So I guess the political answer would be to say Chris Beard. But all joking aside, I mean, I think he's a good fit at Texas, more than likely, and I'm sure he'll have some success there. He is, 1-6 against Scott Drew, so I think we need to slow our roll the last 7 games about how great he is and how much success he'll have. It's still Scott Drew is in the driver's seat, in my opinion. I think Porter Moser is going to do pretty well at Oklahoma. He's already, got some impact transfers. I think that's a good fit there. Mark Adams, I'm rooting for him. I like Mark. I know we've got a guy that's been really a great supporter of SicEm365 that owns 3 Nations, John Royer, who's related to him. And, Mark seems like a really high quality guy. So I hope he has some success at Tech. TJ Alsenberger, jury's out. I think that's a tough road. Iowa State's had a lot of success with transfers. He's got to go that route. If he can recruit the transfers, I think he can do pretty well, but that's almost starting from scratch, in my opinion. That looks like a total rebuild.
Yeah, 0-18 in conference play, 2-22 in conference. I don't want to rebuild that. No, thank you. Ashley, Bear Games question of the day today, yes. And this is a tough one. This is a tough one.
Uh-oh. All right.
What does water taste like?
What does water taste like? I mean, it doesn't have a taste. I mean, I guess if you could have like a little bit of, out of the faucet, sometimes it's got that little metal taste to it. But generally the water I drink is that alkaline water. It's supposed to be good for you. Maybe a scam, but I'll trust that it's doing some benefit. I do the Essentia water, so I'll say no taste.
Are you flexing on all of our listeners right now? Is it just the humble brag about what water you drink?
Hey, it's all driven by my wife. Whatever she gives me, I drink.
I love it. Water is tasteless. That's what we're going to end on today. Ashley Hodge, thanks so much for coming on and talking Baylor recruiting and then Baylor basketball, because I know it's not over. I mean, it never really is. So great to
basketball season, baby. It's
bingo.
Basketball.
Great to have you as always. Hope that you're tearing it up right now in the adult rec leagues.
I'm a legend in my own mind, that's for sure.
I love it. Thanks again, Ashley.
All right, take care.
That was Ashley Hodge at SicEm365 covering all things basketball for Baylor. When we come back, there are some birthdays today. Some people that are famous that had birthdays today, to be exact, and we're going to talk about them. I'm Drake Toll. It's Armstrong Sims. When we come back, celebrity birthdays in this day in sports history. This, all of it, right here, right now. Everything you see on this desk, myself included, Armstrong Sims, the background behind us, is up-tempo.
Halfway there. Happy Wednesday, Baylor Nation, and what a Wednesday it is as spring sports winds down and enters postseason play. Starting in women's golf, the Baylor Lady Bears finished third in the Big 12 Conference play at the league championships with a 6-under par 282 in Tuesday's final round. The number 15th ranked Bears finished just behind number 29 Texas Tech and just ahead of number 32 Oklahoma, as the Lady Bears notched a 17-under finished compared to the Lady Raiders 18-under and the Lady Sooners 16-under. Gurleen Carr and Elodie Chapelet earned all-tournament team recognition after recording top 10 individual finishes for the tourney. The Lady Bears have now finished top 3 at the Big 12 Championships and 7 of 9 appearances under Coach Jay Goebel. Prior to his coming to Baylor, the school had accomplished this feat just once. In collegiate basketball, Charlie Huggins, father of West Virginia coach Bob Huggins, has passed away at the age of 87. Duke Ford Henry Coleman III has entered the portal. Texas Tech signed Chandler Jacobs, a Dallas Baptist standout, and Kentucky's 7-footer Oliver Starr has declared for the NBA draft. UCLA's Johnny Juzang is also entering the NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility to possibly return to Mick Cronin's Bruins. And in football, UTEP coach Dana Dimel received a 1-year show cause restriction, and the athletic department was placed on 1-year probation over NCAA violations. The violation consists of the team exceeding limits on size of the coaching staff by allowing offensive and defensive quality control coaches to provide instruction. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nitchie Group Insurance Agency. With the Nitchie Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nitchie Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nitchie Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with the kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Told her, I was like, well, if it's not a date, then we got to define it as something. Because if it's not going to be a date, then what else, you know? Like, welcome back into the Penny Clinic Low T Bears Den. I'm Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims. We're talking about sports today. A lot of sports. A lot of sports going on out there. Be careful, folks, because if you're not careful, you're going to wind up. There's sports going on. You're just going to wind up in sports if you're not careful. Celebrity birthdays! Armstrong.
Sir.
Queen Elizabeth II.
94.
95. Ooh! Thomas Doherty. Little sword thing?
40.
25. 26. Iggy Pop. Punk singer Iggy Pop.
30.
74. Tony Romo.
40.
41. 41.
That's not bad.
Brighton Shumway, the YouTube star. Brighton Shumway.
20.
12.
Makes sense.
Steve Backshall. Ready?
Ready.
Rob Riggle.
30.
51. Rob Riggle? Real? You do. Look him up. Google him right now.
I'll do it right
I
now.
remember I told you guys to be careful because there's sports out there and we're talking about them.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah. Rob Riggle.
Oh, yeah. How could I not know this guy?
Exactly. Where is that? Oh, I see it now. Rob Riggle. Sports exists in history too. Phillies pitcher Bill Duggleby hits a grand slam on his first at-bat in what year? Bill Duggleby.
Bill Duggleby, 1921.
1998. 1898.
Okay. Big difference.
Ty Cobb makes his professional debut for Augusta in the South Atlantic League.
Oh, no. When Ty Cobb played, 1912.
1904. Debut in 04. 17th Boston Marathon won by Fritz Carlson in 2 hours and 25 minutes. 1913. For perspective, he won it in 2 hours and 25 minutes. The guy that won it 2 years ago won it in like 2 hours and 24. People are not getting faster. People are getting slower. Clarence DeMar.
Why do you... People are getting slower.
Yeah. No baseball games played in the National League due to Charles Ebbett's funeral in what year?
1984.
25. Why would they cancel something so modern? People don't cancel stuff for funerals anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, you're right.
Brooklyn Dodgers win. In what year?
2020.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, Brooklyn Dodgers.
God, you are despicable.
1930.
1955. It's then record 10th straight game to begin a season.
Brooklyn.
73rd Boston Marathon. Yoshiaki Unetani of Japan
1950.
wins in 2 hours and 13 minutes.
1950.
69. That's wild. 2 hours and 13 minutes compared to the last guy that won it in 2 hours and 24. George W. Bush and Edward W. Rose become CEOs of the Texas Rangers. It's 89.
89.
Oakland A's left-hander Sean Manaea no hits the Boston Red Sox.
1964.
2018.
No clue.
112th Boston Marathon, third straight men's title for Robert Kipchepka Chirakatoka of Kenya in 2 hours and 7 minutes. Dire Tune of Ethiopia is the women's winner in 2 hours and 25.
Why is it so hard to Google a Boston Marathon time?
Robert Kipchepka Chirakatoka of Kenya. It's 2008. You know what time it is.
Later, guys.
All right. I'm Drake Toll. That's Armstrong Sims. If you're not careful and don't stay away, the sports are going to get you. Something gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. The sports are just gonna get you. Come back tomorrow if you want to hear us talk about more sports, because we're probably going to do it some. I don't know if we'll do it a lot, but we'll talk a little bit about sports. Spring games coming on up. Quarterback battle. We'll be joined tomorrow by some athletes and some coaches, and you're going to be able to hear about it because it's going to be on Up-Tempo. When we come back, it'll be 11 a.m. This has been Up-Tempo.